Gonna be built like a tank.
We heard on the street they was up to something. We had to come check it out. This is gonna be crazy, man. I can't wait to see this, man.
Customizing a delivery van definitely has some challenges, but this is actually gonna change Dave's life. They told me it can't be done. You're in the right spot. Beautiful. Ryan, bring it on in.
Oh my God, dude.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
When I first seen her, I thought it would have been better off if I just would have turned that thing away. But, you know, that's not what Extensive is about. We like the challenge. We like, you know, when somebody comes in and says you can't do that, that's more reason to do it. You know, I don't know if it's where I'm from or what, but there's something inside me that just doesn't like to be told, that's too hard. This is too much work. Thinking too big. You know, when I hear stuff like that, that's just when it's time to get to work. Going through and putting this car together, that's when you really start to get the ideas of making this thing different from all the other Cadillacs around. You know, if you're only going to do the easy jobs, there's never a challenge. What's the point? We're in the dream-making business. So that's what we're about to do on Earl's right now.
Pretty cool working on this Cadillac, man. I've been around Cadillacs pretty much my whole life, you know. Mostly in my scene, in the lowrider scene.
Man, a Cadillac's one of them cars that's always going to stand the test of time. It's got the name. It's made for the king.
You know, a famous car for a famous NFL player, Earl Campbell, you know.
Y'all talking about the Cadillac?
Oh, yes.
Man, you remember when this thing came in? I was getting a little nervous when it started rolling in and rolling in and rolling in and rolling in, right? You know, parts on a wrecker, trailer, in the car for Earl Campbell. You can't not get him hooked up, right?
Mm-hmm. Now we just need to finish it.
You know, we've already got the new frame underneath this thing. The body's all mounted to the frame with the custom air suspension. The rust is all repaired. This thing's really starting to look like something now. I'm getting excited. Time to put that new engine in, a brand new LSX for this thing. So he's got plenty of power.
Can't believe we're putting LSX in it. Mm-hmm. That's gonna be awesome.
You know, in the engine compartment too, I want to redo the firewall. Give him a nice bead rolled firewall, something that looks totally different, right? And not only new firewall, I want new sheet metal, nice fender wells that roll down and kind of mold to the firewall. And when Earl sees this thing, I really want him to go, man, this is cool. John, I know you've worked on a lot of Cadillacs, buddy. You got room for one more, huh?
One more.
All right. I'm going to go get this engine. Let's get going. All right.
I never drove a Cadillac with air suspension, but I drove a Cadillac with hydraulics. It's beautiful. I'd love to take this thing out for a ride.
You know, Earl Campbell's a Hall of Famer, but before that, he was just a kid from Texas. He used his God-given talents to do things that nobody special as he is. Every piece of metal work we're going to do on this Caddy is going to have design details in places most folks will never even see.
We're going to take the time to make this engine bay look really good, just as good as the outside of the car. So what we're going to do is make a really nice tub and make it look like all one piece. That way it kind of fills in this engine bay, but not so much where you're going to hide the motor. We want the motor with as much visibility as possible. That's the heart of the car. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make this filler panel here, but I'm going to make it look cool. It's just not going to be no flat piece that's going to come down from the top to the bottom. I'm going to make it roll out and then roll back down. Give it a little style, you know? Make it look cool, just like the car is. Now we got this nice pretty piece tacked in place. I can continue rolling this on another panel to come all the way down. Not The easiest way to hold this in place without tacking it is to use this little thing called a Kiko. This is similar to a removable rivet, I guess you would call it. I don't want to tack it in place yet because I might have to remove it when I mess with the firewall. So all those little Kikos hold that in place, and these flat bars make it flush with the other pieces of the firewall. We can get these out of the way since they're just Klikoed in. Cool thing about working on such a large car and this big engine bay, it's gonna be a lot of fun to fill this space with something cool and custom.
I'm not sure if you've seen old footage of Earl Campbell running with a football, but man, he was fast, powerful, and just mean. He didn't run from a hit, he just dished them out. So we want an engine that runs just as powerful as old Earl did back in the day. Well, almost as much. What's up, Brian?
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Man, good.
All right. You here to pick up that new engine?
You know it.
And this is that one for that 49 Caddy, right?
Man, you know we need a lot of power in that thing. Big,
Yes,
heavy
sir.
Cadillac like that.
The one who towed Earl Campbell around in?
Yep.
Well, here comes your engine right here.
Man, let's check this thing out. Man, this is exactly what we need for old Earl. Small package and a big punch. What's the horsepower on this?
627 and 586 foot-pounds of torque.
Man.
Well, I know you're going to be happy with it, and I hope Earl Campbell will be happy with.
Start building around it. This LSX is just a power plant to have, much like the old 454s that were in all the hot rods back in the day. The LSX is much lighter, a lot smaller, and more efficient than the original, but with a ton of power. This engine is definitely the one to put in a build like this. Engine's in before lunch! Looks pretty dang good.
Just one spoiled Cadillac, huh?
Right? You know, most of the time the engine compartments are so crammed you don't really get to see everything in it. Man, this thing is could have V12 in this thing. You know, on the firewall too, man. We have so much room we don't even have to notch it for the transmission tunnel. And I love this design you have here. And how about we incorporate this into the firewall itself so it come down and have that little that 3D look too. You know, John and I are old school fabricators. So with the metal work on this car, we're definitely not using a computer. We take what's in our heads and make it with our hands. Man, I know this is becoming one of your favorites. Got to.
Yeah, sure is, Colin.
Me too. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that gives us room for ideas and
We kind of got an idea of what we want to do on this firewall to make it match these inner fenders. Thinking of it is cool, but doing it is a whole different ballgame. So it's going to take me a little time to figure out all these angles. We got to do it right the first time. If not, we got to start all over from the beginning. So measure it, calculate before I start bending. It's a lot of bends. This is the radius that we got on the inner fender. This is the piece that's going to go across the bottom of the firewall. And I just want to try to get them to match. We want to keep that same radius throughout the whole engine bay. Kind of hard because there's like a million things going on in here at once. Playing a little game of small cuts, cutting a little bit at a time till it fits in place right. Because if you cut too much, then you got a big hole you got to fill. And it'll fit right in there just the way we want. Now that the lower road part of the firewall is in, it's time to make the top part of the firewall. I'm gonna trace the shape of the cowl onto the panel. Cut it out, slap it back on there, and then we're gonna design what we're gonna bead roll on here. We'll be able to get rolling.
Man,
Think about that.
I love it. I love that rolled edge, how it goes around. That really helps out. How about something with a V pattern here in the core support? So that just makes sense to carry that on through. The letter V has been a design element on Caddies as long as I can remember. So on Earl Campbell's 49 Cadillac, we're putting subtle V touches everywhere, including the firewall. I think it'll play in all together with the whole design of the engine compartment. I think something like that. You know, of course, I want to lay it out a little better, a little more square, but...
Oh, you want it straight?
Yeah.
I removed the panel from the firewall, and all I'm doing is straightening out all the lines that we rough sketched in here, make everything even all the way around. I'm gonna draw me out some straight lines that I'm gonna follow with the rolls on the bead roller. Little tip, take your time, roll it slow so you can follow your line straight. You roll it too fast and you get a little wiggly, you'll see it in your roll. So you gotta have some patience. If not, we gotta start all over. I think that looks pretty damn good. And we're ready to tack this thing in place. An original Cadillac symbol, meaning V8, fits the car really well, especially having this nice LSX 454 in the engine compartment. Make it feel at home.
Not every build that comes through here is going to be for someone as famous as Earl. No matter what the build, we always put in the same passion and talent. Because to that person, their build, big or small, is the most important thing in the world to them. You know, when a white Sprinter van pulls up to the shop, you automatically think you're getting a package. But in this case, it's going to be a very important build. You know, we're super busy right now. But when Dave and his family called me out of the blue, I told them to come on over, I'll take a look. How you doing?
Doing good. How about yourself? Doing good.
What's happening?
Thank you, Mr. Bill.
What y'all got going on today?
Well, last September, I bought me a 2017 Mercedes Sprinter, and it is very, very difficult for me to get in. I come from a motocross background, started when I was 4 years old, and at the age of 31, I was out at Three Palms, and came up short. Actually didn't come up short, I just went over the bars, and that was the end of that.
So that's what put you in the chair.
That's what put me in the chair. The end goal is from a seat.
And what you need is it down on the ground so you can get in and drive this thing.
Absolutely. So the way the van sits right now and as high as it is, it's too difficult for my family to be putting me in and out. And so it's, you know, it's time. It's been 16 years. And it's time for me to drive myself. I've searched around quite a bit, took it to several different shops, was asking about putting it on bags, and they told me it can't be done. They just said they don't do it when I asked to drop it. And here I am.
We were told no so many times. And Dave Jr. said, hey, Dad, I heard about this guy. I think he can do it. You're in the right spot.
I hear you. Like to hear.
I have friends that race. I love off-roading too. You know, of course, when you hear a story like this, you just want to get in and help. You know, anything we can do to make his life better, we're definitely going to do it. I see these Mercedes Sprinter vans everywhere because even though it doesn't look super cool, this 2017 has a super efficient diesel and it has tons of space to put whatever you want in it. Now, let's check this thing out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely see the height here. You'd have to have a 20-foot ramp to get up in this thing easily.
Yeah.
You need this thing down the ground so you can have a ramp go up in it.
A ramp would be nice. A ramp would be really nice.
When you're in it, you need that chair out of the way so you can pull up into
what
it.
I would like is for the front seat to swivel. You know, I don't want to drive from a power chair. Plus, I don't like it. Seems like it's just super dangerous to me.
We definitely got you on that.
That sounds great.
So you have a motocross history. You like cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
We got to get rid of this delivery van look, man.
Yeah, it looks pretty much like a cargo van.
So what do you think about wrapping this thing, putting some cool wheels and tires on it, dropping it? This thing is going to look cool.
I just want to be part of the family, bud.
That's it.
Hey, if you can put one truck that high up in the air, I got faith that you can put one on the ground.
Oh, we're going to do it.
Dude, you're going to make me pass out, man. I have full confidence that these guys have it, and, I mean, I'm just ready. I'm just excited. I can't wait.
All right, man, let's go make it happen.
Let's do it.
Customize a lot of vehicles at the shop, but you know, a Sprinter van is definitely lower on the list of sought after vehicles. You know, customize some challenges. We got our work cut out for us for that, of not only serving a purpose to help Dave in his life to make it easier, but he wants something cool also. We do builds all the time at Extensive. We get them in, out every day. You know, this project right here is a little more special. I mean, this is actually going to change Dave's life.
Why do you have a delivery van?
No, man, we're not fixing a delivery van. Customer's name's Dave. You know, he had a motocross accident, so he's in the wheelchair. So what we're going to try to do is give him that freedom, independence back to do what he needs to do. But it needs to look cool, too.
Yeah, we can take care of that. That's our business.
That's it, man. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put some air suspension on this thing to drop this thing down to the ground. So we're going to pull out the leaf springs in the rear, you know, clean all the axle off and build the tooling for the rear. Get it super low.
No doubt.
Same with the front. Put in all the new compressors, tanks, the whole nine.
So we're trying to give him something else back that's a lot of fun that he can do on his own and have a good time.
Exactly. Not only to the van. So we're going to install a wheelchair ramp that shoots out the side of this thing. Dave can ride right in himself and do his thing. Once we figure out the ramp situation, the next thing we're going to tackle the custom driver's seat. So he can put himself in the chair, spin himself right around, go on about his day, and have that independence back.
Super convenient. So you gonna stick with the smuggler look, the all white, or are we doing something cooler?
No delivery van. No, we're going to definitely, you know, it's got the motocross background. He needs to have that cool feeling of riding around also. So we're going to start out wrapping this thing, and then we're going to finish it off with some really cool wheels.
Awesome. It's a little bit out of the ordinary, but it's going to be pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Well, I'm ready to get started on this thing. Let's get it on the 2-post. Knock this thing out, man.
Sound good, man. You know, lowering this van to the ground is going to look awesome. So we're going to change up the rear suspension on this van. We're going to change it over to a 2-link. So I'm going to take these leaf springs out, the shocks. But I'm going to start stripping this stuff off and get to business. All right, now I got all that taken apart. It's time to get these leaf springs out. We're going to need as much space as, now that I have everything out of my way, I'm going to take this little 1/2 inch out, and that's a 1/2 inch lower that we're going to be.
This van has a steel unibody, which means the frame is built into the body. Luckily, we have just enough room to fit the air suspension, so we don't have to cut notches, which is cool. It saves us a lot of work. We got the big springs out of the way. That's going to let this thing sit way low to the ground. You know, we're not going to cut the floor, not going to do a C-notch, so we're just going to set the axle right on the unibody itself. So it's going to be super low and have perfect angle for that ramp.
Is that a 22 going on here? 24.
He said 22.
It's really getting a 24, bro. Oh, man, it's gonna be freaking huge.
It's not every day we get to work on a 2017 Sprinter, but also it's not every day we get to change someone's life. Putting this van on air suspension is going to get Dave that much closer to driving.
Since the sheet metal on these rear tubs is so thin, it's not as solid as we like. So we're gonna add some structure into this thing. We're gonna brace the frame, brace the bottom of the floor, and we're also gonna put a little plate here. We can through bolt it. Everything's working with each other here. Nothing's working against each other. It's like with as much weight as it's gonna be carrying and the load and the sway and everything, it needs to be structurally sound. I came at the perfect time.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Thank you, buddy.
There you go. You can go ahead and clean them up.
It's hot.
Watch out.
What I'm doing is trying to get this 90-degree angle right on the money. And then the next one, you just hammer down on the pedal. That doesn't work for you. Perfect. Back to the van. It's right on the money. It's exactly what we wanted. Now we can punch some holes in this, connect the dots, and now we're one step closer to having the rear suspension built. Now that we got our plates made, you can see everything kind of coming together. And we can through bolt it to the inside of the cab, put a backing plate on the other side, and you get a little bit more structure out of it that way. kits for just about any application, any car, any truck, anything like that. But when we have builds like this or just one-off builds, we typically build, I mean, we could easily go pull something off the shelf and throw it on here and just make it work. But later on down the line, you might run into a problem. So I like to just literally make every part and piece for every single vehicle that I build. That way I know 100% that it's perfect for what we're building it for. Beautiful. Love it. And that's lunch.
And yoga has started.
Now that John's finished fabricating the engine bay on Earl's 49 Cadillac, he's going to move into the cab.
So what we're going to do is continue to firewall back over the transmission. So I'm making a trans tunnel. I'm going to make a template of how I want this end of it shaped. I never took art class, but instead of doing schoolwork, I was drawing in all my notebooks. Now we can get the end of that tunnel shape and make it flow into the floorboards. Pretty close. Now we got a whole lot of cutting to do. When you're hand building something, you're building it in place and, oh, that'll work. You know, everything's made to fit. First piece in, I got about 2 more to go. I know Earl's not gonna mind what his trans tunnel looks like while he's driving his car down the road, but this thing is gonna be built like a tank, and I'm sure he'll love it as much as I do.
Our next step of getting the floor sheet metal put in is locking the rear end up. You know, this thing's got 600 plus horsepower, almost just as much torque. So we need a rear end that's really going to stand up to all that. So we got a fabricated 9-inch. Then we can build our drive shaft tunnel around the mocked up drive shaft. And then we'll start building the floor around that.
Now it's time to cut our center section out of our floor. Let's see if we can do a straight line. Then we can put our drive shaft tunnel in. Now we got the tunnel in. Pinion angle was set. What I'm going to do is bottom out that axle so we can put our new inner tubs in.
I love adding style in a place you least expect it. You know, that's what a full build is. John's finishing up the metalwork with as many design elements as possible in the rear of the 49 Caddy.
You know, when taking apart these old cars, sometimes you gotta use your head, not only to do it right, but to hold the parts. What I did here is I got me a piece of pipe that'll fit in this axle hub. I cut me out a piece of flat bar about the height of the tire. What I'm gonna do is use this, make me a perfect circle of where I need to cut to put our new tub in here. With this all opened up, move on to the other side and get that cut out. Since we had our rear end bottomed out, we know what our very top needs to be. Now we need to figure out how wide it needs to be front and back. And now we could do that same thing we just did at that height, and we will get a perfect arc at an 18-inch radius. This is all coming together real nicely. We got our fenders put back on, got them all welded out. Now we can cap the inner tubs and get our notch cover built. A custom car. You know, this could have been a flat panel, and what would we have done? You know, undercoated the car or something, flatlined it. But now that we have this nice little design, it could be painted glossy and it'll look good. You know, it's just a little added touch to doing something that's worthwhile. One challenge we got is the notch has 2 crossbars from frame roll to frame roll that bow like this. So what I'm gonna do is make a template to that contour and get that template transferred onto a piece of sheet metal. I'm gonna draw me some designs and bead roll it to match what we got on the firewall. See how it looks? Would you look at that? Man, it looks real good.
these airbags are gonna lower this van, and it's totally gonna help out for this ramp we're gonna install. He'll be able to drive for the first time in 16 years. It's a total game changer.
Wrapping it up, huh?
Yeah, you came in at the perfect time.
Always come at the perfect time. It looks real good.
Thank you.
All the suspension's done, huh? Line's done, electrical's done.
Yeah, dude, I got everything mounted, tucked up in here real nice and together and not all over the place. Usually we jinx ourselves saying, it's going to happen.
We gotta have one easy every once in a while, right?
They can't all be difficult all the time, huh?
No, they can. Well, cool. Let's get the wheels on and get this thing on the ground, man. Let's see what it looks like. Cool. And then we'll start working on the inside.
Yeah, buddy. All right.
All right, Ryan, let's drop this thing down. No more delivery van, right?
Nah. It's right
it looks
there
cool
on the
too.
mud flaps, man.
Right?
It's sick. Until we get them wheels on there, it's gonna look good, man.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's get this thing aired up. Let's get it on a drive-on lift so we can start building the ramp on this thing.
Sounds good, man.
The ramp needs to be installed flush with the floor, so Ryan's got to make an opening for it.
All right, so I used the framing square just to find out where my door was. We know here is our door. We're not going any further past this point. Here's the center of the actual opening of the door and everything we got. So we have this much room to work with. Our deck is 41 and an eighth. So within our parameters, we have a lot of room to work with, which is really good. Just triple check your measurements, because we're about to cut the entire floor of this thing out. All right, now that I have all my lines done, I'm gonna go ahead and just cut this whole section out where our ramp is gonna go. All right, so you can see from the inside here where our lines are, where they're coming down. We're already planning on reboxing this whole entire frame since it's a unibody, and we're gonna plate the side of it and then cap the top off once we're done and have everything bolted in where we need it. So just to get this whole center out of the way, cut this whole top section out, and then we have a wide open area we can work with, full measurements, and do what we gotta do. It's loose? Yeah, it's loose. It's not heavy. Got it. Yeah, I got it. I'm done. So now I got this big hole in the middle of this floor. I want to get the ramp in here, and I want to see exactly what we're looking like. Hey, be careful on the floor right there. See if you can hop down into the floor, onto the ground. This ramp isn't meant for this van. It's meant for like a tour bus. So what we're doing is trying to make this work for what we got, This is what we do. We're fabricators. If we can see it, we can make it happen. So what we're doing is, making it happen. And that's the job. That's what we do. I'm gonna make a channel that will go over the frame rail to cap our frame rail where we cut it in half and stitch all the way down the frame rail and work our way. We're gonna have to brace all this up, make a mount for this thing to actually sit on, and put some structure back into this van. Now we got the main structure tacked into place. We got our frame rails boxed in, and we got the actual track that our ramp is bolted to. So really all that's left to do now is weld this up, have some holes up, and we'll be ready to wire it up and test this thing out.
We're going to make as many parts as we can for Earl's 49 Caddy right here in the shop. However, there's a few parts we need. So when it came to the radiator, we had to have one specifically built for this job. In the shape of a V, of course.
Front of the car is exactly what this thing needed. Get all this cut out and just continue to make the little V shape here.
Hell yeah, we'll build a support around the radiator.
Man, I've never seen a V radiator before.
Yeah, me neither. That is nice. The bottom part of the core support, which comes out all the way to the front bumper, we're gonna make that all one piece, and it gets welded to the fenders. This is gonna be one complete unit now with everything welded together. We're ready to get our radiator mocked up. We got these side pieces tacked in, which is gonna isolate where you can only view the radiator. Got that nice radiator in there. The edges need to look good too. We're gonna start forming this top part of here, so it's all one piece and structurally strong, and it looks damn cool. Make us a really nice fitment right there. Now what I'm gonna do is get that excess off. Now I got these pieces fitted in here pretty nice. Then we're gonna run us a couple bead rolls on these panels, kind of liven it up a little bit so it's not just so flat. Looks pretty good. So what I did here was I started off with maximum pressure here, and once I got to this line I drawn, which is 10 inches away from the edge, I started slowly fade out look instead of just a hard stop. Man, them lines match up perfectly. Little flavor to the front end here. Man, now we got this whole front end pretty much done. Got the grill fit in here perfect. This thing is looking really, really good.
Today's a milestone in the 49 Cadillac. After about 3 months of metal work, it's finally rolling over to the body shop.
From where it started to where it is now is a huge difference, and it's a good feeling seeing it come from the fab shop, finally going to the body shop, then insert the body and paint.
We got the ramp working on Dave's 2017 Sprinter van, but I definitely can't let it leave the shop in the delivery van white. So John and Jose wrapped the back of the van glossy black to make it look like it has a rear window, and they're wrapping the rest in a brushed black.
So the next step now is putting the razor wire on. As you can see, there's a tiny wire inside this tape. This allows me to get straight cuts whenever I put another overlapping vinyl on top. And once I'm to never put a blade on it, I won't be able to scratch it or damage my gloss black window.
A lot of people come to us to go get color changes. They're bored of their existing paint job and they want something new. Or certain models like Ferraris or Lamborghinis, they only come a certain color selection. Well, some clients, they want to be unique, so they do whatever it takes. They come to us, we get it done, and they're happy. And when they get tired of it, we remove it. The resale value doesn't get affected. The original paint is protected underneath, brand new.
Now with the wire all pulled out, all we're gonna do is pull out the green tape. As you can see the straight, perfect line that leaves behind. Perfect.
Well, let's go ahead and start getting these side panels put in.
Always love giving a vehicle back to its owner. But this 2017 Sprinter van is just a little something extra because Dave's just going to be that much closer to driving. So we're installing a swivel seat for easier access, new 24-inch wheels, and some red accents to match those wheels.
I haven't sat in the driver's seat in 16 years, man. And the day's here, so I'm pumped.
You know, a lot of people have their own style, their own customization, but here, you know, the customization just keeps evolving. There's not blueprints, there's not schematics to do what we do. Everything we customize here is specifically to that build. Two of the same cars could come in here, but when they both leave, they'll be totally different and totally cool. You know, that's why I like coming to work. That's why I love doing what I do, just to get tested. I get bored any other way. I gotta have the challenge. I gotta have the creativity, you know, to get in and create something with my hands, to make something just cool. You know, bolting on the same parts day after day, you know, that's cool, but that's not the definition of custom to me. You know, building it all back up with as many parts as you can by hand, that's the definition of custom. What's happening, dude? How you doing? I mean, it always Oasis because we're giving this 2017 Sprinter van back to Dave, and I can't wait to see his reaction. Man, I know it's been a while. I know you've been waiting patiently.
When you're in this position, bro, that's the first thing you learn. Patience.
You ready to check this thing out? I know you guys are ready.
Yeah.
Ryan, bring it on in.
Oh my God, dude. Oh man, this is beautiful, dude. You gotta be kidding me, man.
Fine looking.
You gotta be kidding me.
That's what I was waiting to see. That's
You gotta
cool.
be kidding me, man.
What you think, man?
Bro, that is something else. Whoa, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, dude.
Oh man.
It doesn't look like that delivery van anymore, does it?
Oh, no, sir. That's why I brought it to you, Bill. There is nothing you can't do. It's overwhelming, dude. Seriously, man.
Because at first it could not be done.
Oh man, we did it.
You did it. You absolutely did it.
You guys ready to check this thing out?
I'm ready to open that thing up and let me check that ramp out because I know we got a ramp inside the thing, dude. Oh, my God.
Check it out.
Oh, my God.
Man, that ain't just something you just bolt on either. We had to cut the whole floor of the van out, restructure everything, and then make everything mount back. So you have two sets of controls. One will control the airbags, front, up and down, back up and down, and the center button right there operates the ramp.
Check it
Oh,
out.
check it out,
Check
Bubba.
it out, dude.
That's it, man. You think you can work with that?
Absolutely, dude. My power chair is going to have no problem going up in there. I'm just really stoked.
It was a first for us also, and hope you like it, man. It's pretty sick.
You know, once you're up in there, we have installed a swivel seat on the factory seat there, so
awesome.
and added some handles on there, so you can spin that thing around from the back and get up in it and do what you need to do, man. Go on about whatever you want to do, all on your own.
Dude, I'm speechless, man. Speechless.
You know, of course, we had to add some cool wheels and tires too. This had to be made specifically for this van. If we're going to have some made, we got to have some cool ones made too, right?
Oh, yes.
You know, after all that was done, we couldn't have the delivery van look. We had to have this thing wrapped. You know, John and Jose over at Pixel Works came in with a brushed black,
beautiful.
And man, that just really sets it off.
I mean, I can't believe the job you've got. I'm surprised your name isn't Copperfield, man, because it's magic, bro. It's magic.
I like to speak for all the guys at the shop. This is something special for us also. You know, not only a chance to do suspension on something that we don't normally do, the challenge of making the delivery van look cool, but to give you that independence back to really help you out in that aspect of your life. I mean, it's cool to be able to do for us also.
But that's what it's all about is independence, buddy. I'm stoked, man. Ready to get in this thing and go down the road. You guys don't get it, man. For someone like me, to be behind the driver's seat again, or behind the steering wheel, it's overwhelming. I haven't been behind a wheel in 16 years, bro. 16 years, man. Oh, man, dude.
Man, you look good in there.
I feel good in here. I don't even know what to say, man, but thanks.
Man, I appreciate that.
Tim, what up with it, man?
What you doing out rolling around?
I'm good, man. You know, I'm just cruising.
How's the car treating you?
Man, I'm loving it, man. You already know I'm loving it, man. Hey, look, all that small talk. Real reason why we here. We heard y'all was over here trying to do the Mac. That's the truth. Y'all trying to shut
Man, I
the
knew
Mac
Raymond
down.
didn't show up to say hi. What's up, Tim?
We heard on the street they was up to something. We had a few words on the street that they've been working on something special over here. We had to come check it out.
We had to come and check it out. I know Bill was up to something. They was too quiet,
I
Ron.
knew it too, man. Real deal, Bill. Hey, what's going on around here, Bill?
What up, man?
Man, what are you working
What's
on
up,
over
Bill?
here, man?
What you up to, Bill?
That's it.
Look at him. That's a 40s Cadillac.
That's it. 49.
This is gonna be crazy, man. I can't wait to see this, man.
You already know who it's for, huh?
Yeah, Earl Campbell, man. You know, we heard word on the street, so we had to pull up and see what was going on. Let me hit the club in this one.
So was this bad and slim?
You know, this wasn't even a complete car when we got it.
Man.
It was just a body, a frame, crates of parts just crammed in.
Oh, you was gonna rebuild it anyway, man. So it don't matter. You just that's what you do.
This is Earl's first custom car, so I really want him to just be impressed. You know, all around the bottom of this thing, all the sheet metal's all been gone through and straight. Built a new chassis from bumper to bumper on the front.
That's gonna be mean, man. What kind of energy you got up in there?
An LSX.
Wow. What is he gonna do with all that power?
Man, whatever he wants, right?
Earl Campbell like stuff big, you know, you're running back. He's running over people, you know what I'm saying? That's what it is. All over the city in there, man. That's crazy. I sure don't like that, though. Man. Hey, man, you put the V in there for the Cadillac? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. You see that, Slim? I see that. Sneak that V on. You see what they did?
One of the coolest things about this car is when you pop the hood, John fabricated all the panels inside the firewall.
He thought we didn't see that. Okay. You gotta watch it. You know what I'm talking about? I seen that V right there. They wasn't gonna even tell her. I like Earl a lot. Yeah. But I don't like Bill that might be trying to take us out. You know they gonna show him extra love because who he is. I sure don't like that, man. That's cold, boy. That's all right. What color you going, Bill? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Black on black. Black on black. Yes,
you had to have it.
2 black legs back to back on the freeway. That's gonna be nice. That's gonna be nice, man. You know Earl gonna let you drive it.
Yeah, I sure hope he
good. I can't wait.
That'll ease the pain a little bit. You know, the next step's the interior on this thing, and we really got some custom touches for him. It's really something special.
You hear that, Slim? I can't wait to see that part. They got secrets. Well, let me know if you don't like it. I might go back.
Yeah, we for sure set the bar on Slim's Cadillac. But stay tuned, because we got some stuff planned for Earl's that are going to go way beyond that.
We're going to keep out here to the street on y'all to see what's
crazy high. It's going to command attention.
A work truck bed on top of a big lift like this.
Wait till you see all the speakers that's going to go in that bed. This thing is going to be loud. It's always cool to work on your own project. There's no limitations. It's on you. Come on out with it. This is going to be the king around here. I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. You know, back in 2011, we took a Suburban, cut that thing in half, and made it a 2-door Tahoe. You know, back when this was built, this was a shocker for the world. 8 years later, you can still take this thing to just a prime example of something I wanted myself to have a business card for Extensive and really set its mark in the custom world. You know, every year I try to top myself to really build something really cool over the top, and we're definitely not done doing that.
Ooh. Pulling out of retirement?
Got a guy won this thing, so we're gonna meet him at a local little car show up in Tyler, where I'm gonna hand over the keys, man.
Wait, like it's leaving?
It's leaving.
Oh, man.
It's still gonna continue to go to car shows. It'll just be kind of like a foster home for it.
Okay, cool.
Time to move on, right?
Yeah.
It's time for something new. You know, it's time for this to go. We're gonna load it up, take it to a local car show. This turbine's gonna start its new life with its new owner. I hate selling this thing, but it's gonna fund the new over-the-top project. We're out at Turkey Drag Car Show. You know, it's always good to get out of the shop, come see what's going on, see some cool cars. Today's kind of bittersweet though. Part of the family's leaving, but you know, it's always nice to get that little check also. Man,
all right.
You made it?
Yes, sir.
What do you think, finally getting to see this thing in person?
I've been looking for this truck for 8 years.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This truck is super cool, man. Something like nobody else has. That's exactly what I want. One day, a friend of mine, he called me. He says, hey, they got it for sale. So I made the call. We pulled the trigger, and we're here.
What's your favorite thing about this?
I like the way you did it. When we shorten it, make it 2-door. That's the only one on the earth. I gotta have it, bro.
It's really cool. Antonio's been following this car, for 8.5 years, and he's finally seeing it in person.
Oh, man. That's what I'm talking about, man.
It's a factory 5.3 in this thing, but it's just all cleaned up. It doesn't look like that factory engine anymore, right?
No, it don't look like it no more, man. You can see from every angle, you can see everything, something different.
If you like this, you're definitely going to like the interior.
I think it's crazy, man. You got speakers everywhere, man.
3 big 12s in the back. You see the big hole in the roof. That's out of a Cadillac SRX. You can't buy one that big. Cut that out of another roof and then graft it into this one.
I think it's my right size, man. Yeah.
When Antonio's sat in this seat, I can tell he's been wanting to do that for a long time.
Man, look at that. Man,
it's got a ton of power back here, right?
Man, I would like to
put home and somebody that really appreciates this. Enjoy it, man. Need something, holler. Looking at this thing for the last time, we've done a good job on it. I can't thank all my guys enough for all the late nights and hard work, because as you can see in the car show here, it's still holding its weight. I've gone to shows East Coast to West Coast, almost every state. You see a bunch of lowered trucks, lifted trucks, people trying to creep up on us. We can't be having that. That just makes me want to build just something over the top, just lifted super high. If you're going to build a lifted truck, you want something totally different that nobody's seen before. This is the truck to get. I've got a 2020 Chevrolet medium duty that is just going to be insane. The medium duty trucks are in between a 1-ton and an 18-wheeler, so just putting it way up in the air is definitely something you don't see ever. It's gonna command attention no matter where it goes. This is gonna be the king around here. Is the truck brand new? Yes. Are we gonna pull it in the shop and tear it totally apart and start over? Absolutely. Tire company's gotta love you.
What is this, test drive or what?
Well, yeah, test drove it. It's my new project. Oh, Lord. You always got to have the bigger, fatter, right? Just the natural progression. Taking a medium duty, putting our spin on it, our style to it, it's just going to put us over the top again.
I'm scared to see what you're going to come up with next after this one's that high. But I got you a bay open. Let's go ahead and pull it in there and we'll get it racked up.
So you got me a spot?
Got you a spot.
Let's do it. Always before starting a project like this, you always get a little anxious. Just, you can't really wait to get started working on this. I mean, it's still, a passion for all of us. It's the anticipation of getting the thing done, getting it out of the road, and just having a good time with it. It doesn't get any better than that. Most of the time you start to create the canvas and then add to that also. So the finished product is just going to be something that's going to blow everybody away. I love being able to prove myself, to prove my team to everybody. Building a lifted truck, that's fun for me. But building a super huge dually truck that's going to end up being, over 12,000 pounds when we're done, super high off the ground, that's just something I got to have in my life. What you think about this, James?
Man, that's brand new. I ain't seen one of these yet.
Right? Man, I got some big plans for this. First things first, we're going to get this thing up on the lift, and then we're just going to build a crazy drop-down air suspension with the big shocks. Huge 4-link on this thing with the big 1-inch Heims, super thick DOM. I mean, this thing's going to be bulletproof. And I got to have some big wheels and tires on this thing. Definitely. I want to keep that dually in the back, too. Raising this thing up, we're not shooting for a specific amount of inches. I want this thing way off the ground. We're just going to lift this thing till it looks right. When it looks right, we'll go a little bit higher. Because this thing's going to be crazy high. look at the steps on this. This definitely isn't going to cut it. So we're going to build some custom run crawl up in this big old thing. And as far as the bed, I want to do like a utility style bed with the toolboxes and all that.
A work truck bed on top of a big lift like this with the air suspension.
Yeah, you don't ever see anything like that.
I've never seen nothing like that.
Wait till you see all the speakers and all the stereo that's going to go in that bed.
Oh, man.
We're going to have it loud. It's got to be loud. They go by, you're like, man, why? I want that feel of industrialism.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This front end's a little bit too shiny for you.
Man, we got to get rid of all that. Spray it all black, get rid of the chrome, make this thing cool. We're going to have to step it up in the interior, too.
Yeah.
Leather inside, suede headliner. And this thing doesn't even come with carpet. Of course, we're going to put that in it, too. We're going to make the inside just plush as can be.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
If you can't wait, let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
This thing is almost 6 tons stock. Because this thing is so big, we're going to take a few extra precautions. And Jamie's going to weld some extensions directly to the lift so we can pick this thing up safely.
Oh, that's nice. This truck was barely stocked for maybe a couple days, and it's already up on the lift. All right, so go ahead and separate the axles from the leaf springs. Go ahead and lift up the frame. Now go ahead and pull the leaf springs.
We're going to be taking this thing to car shows all over, but it's not just about the trophy. This thing is going to be able to get to work too. So Rudy's going to start burning the hangers and brackets with all 5/16 plate.
Being that this is typically just used for work and never lifted, we had to build some extra heavy-duty hangers to support the whole weight of this work truck. If these things aren't strong enough, then our whole four-link system will just collapse and be worthless.
The next step we're doing this huge lift, huge super heavy lift, is building the 4-link brackets on the rear end. Rudy cut some 5/16 plate. This allows the 4-link to mount from the truck to the rear end and everything pivot. This was where all the stopping, starting, pulling power is all transferred into these pivot points here. Especially as high as this thing's going to be, all the weight is compounded. So this thing has to be really, really strong. This is a major point of the whole suspension. When you're lifting a big Silverado 5500 over a foot in the air, the 4-link has to be not only super strong and support all the weight that's going to be way up in the air. It's got to look cool too. One of the things that makes this thing super strong is the 1-inch FK Heims are really, really strong. So we're going to use that in conjunction to some really thick DOM, and that's going to make it so we never have to worry about that whatsoever.
Got my Heims bolted up, all exactly the same, so we're gonna go ahead and bolt this up to the truck and continue with our 4-link. Now we got our 4-link bolted up. These things look beefy. So we can go ahead and start setting up our diagonal link. A diagonal link in a wishbone is always gonna keep your rear end completely centered through all of its range of travel. This sucker right here is gonna make sure that the whole rear end is nice and straight as it travels up and down. I only wish I could say the same thing about my back right now.
This thing comes with power steering, but to save a little space, we're going to convert everything into all hydraulic steering.
So this big steering gearbox is going to have to go. We're going to get rid of this one and install a new hydraulic steering system. All right, so you can see our old gearbox is a whole lot bigger than our new one. In this case, looks can be deceiving. This small little guy here is going to do just as much as our big one here. This right here is basically our servo. All it does is transfer all the hydraulic fluid down to our hydraulic pump, which is going to be placed on the axle somewhere. Went ahead and made a brand new mount for our hood strut. That way we don't lose the support for our hood. All right, we got our servo bolted up, linked up to our steering shaft. Everything looks good. And then the fun part, figuring out where that goes.
what we're doing now is mounting the hydraulic cylinder to the axle. We got a rolled piece of pipe that we had laying around the shop, so we're going to make 3 separate pipes to hold the hydraulic cylinder for the steering to mount it right to the axle. I mean, we could use a straight piece of pipe, but it'd look way cooler to have a little style to it and use the rolled pipe and be super strong also. The cylinder where we want, we got the roll tubing connecting the axle to the mount. It looks good. It's super strong and stylish for sure.
Alright, now that we got our hydraulic cylinder mounted and welded up, we're going to go ahead and make 2 rods, 1 for each side, to connect from the cylinder to our spindle. That way when our cylinder starts pushing those rods out left and right, our truck will go left or right. So just to make sure that our new tie rod ends are exactly the same, we're going to go ahead and jig up the first one I just welded up. That way my second one will bolt up just exactly like the first one. We got our first new tie rod made. Go ahead and duplicate it and make another one. Tie rods are in. As you can see, as our cylinder pushes in and out, it's going to steer our truck left and right.
We're going to start building the air suspension, and straight pipe is never a good idea. We want something with a little style. So Max is about to get out and get to it of rolling a lot of pipe and tubing for my truck to build the bag mounts, shock mounts, and just make it look cool. We're going to do things a little different this time. Instead of putting the lower bag mounts in place and then building down to the axle, I think what we'll do is take the lower bag mount off, build it on the table.
I won't have to keep crawling under here and throwing my back out every time I get in here.
Right. I got that. We can just simulate the axle with a piece of pipe on the table and build our pipe all to that. So we're going to make all of our pieces fit in a little square here.
You got it?
I know you do.
Thing here is just trying to make everything look symmetrical. It's kind of different not doing it on the truck, but our simulated axle, everything's going to fit right on there like if it was on the truck. It's going to save my back and my knees and lots of time. Alright, we got all these welded up. Now we go slap these on the truck.
Heck yeah, Rudy. That's going to work good. Let's get the other side on, and then we'll put our straight edge across here and clamp it. And that, instead of trying to spend the time to level everything, you know it's 100% perfect. Weld that sucker out, and then we'll move to the uppers.
Hey, that's a great idea.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
That is what we like to call rap. Some big old shocks. These shocks are going to be able to hold up all the hard work this truck's going to go through.
We got both sides punched. Got our shock mount in the right spot. I'm just going to drill it. Drill that side. Everything's going to be 100% true. So the truck goes perfectly level when you're going down the road.
I don't know if you noticed it. There's a sign over there. Do not drill or weld spring.
What do you think, Rudy? This big old shock looks perfect proportion to this big old truck, right?
Doesn't even look that big when it's on the truck.
Right? That's it, man. This is the last little bit of the suspension. This thing's ready to get blown apart and get coated.
Shoot, well, let's do it.
You know, it's always good to be in this part of the process. You know,
having all the fabrication done, all the figuring out is done. All the mental anguish is over. Every part of the process from now on is just improvements. It's about to be the payoff for all the hard work. For the Chevy Silverado 5500. This thing is cool, but this is just a starting platform for what I'm thinking. It's always cool to be able to work on your own project. There's no limitations. There's nobody telling you, what to do, what they want. There's no restrictions whatsoever. Whatever you can think of, whatever you can dream of, it's on you.
Yeah, but this much more. Come forward.
That's what the shop's all about, is building cool cars, and especially one that stands out from all the rest of the builds, all the rest of the cars around. You want to make something that just has your personality built in with it. Man, I love this point of the build. Just start to see all the big pieces come together. It makes for a really good day, especially something like this. To see a service bed like this with a truck like this is going to be real cool, especially when it's real high up in the air. Getting excited. The more I look at this thing together, the wheels are turning, getting a few more ideas to really top this thing off. Definitely got to get rid of this. He just can't leave well enough alone, can he? Man, this is the point. This isn't well enough. I just love this truck, how everything's looking, but the trailer lights in this thing just kill it. So what I did, man, I had this little plate lasered out for the triple stack of the ABS LEDs. So I'll just cut this thing out, weld this right in. No more trailer lights. Man, I love the style of this bed. I love the work truck feel of this truck, but it's got to have something all the other ones. So the way the new bumper is going to look with the lines on the running board and they carry on to the lines around the bed, the triple stack lights are just really going to go with the whole overall feel of this truck. It's like you're adding some TVs to the back of your truck. I would have 10 years ago. We have them all over the place. Tim's grinding down the light panel we made. He's giving it a little bit of bevel all the way around it. So when we weld the light panel into the bed, I'll bevel this a little also. We'll grind this thing down nice and flush. No powder coat left on it, so you want it metal to metal. Nice weld, nice grind, and very little body filler. And this thing's going to look super smooth. These lights are going to go in from the back side. This is the bucket that holds the LEDs. So to make a stud on here to hold these buckets, I'm going to drill it all the way through. Then I'll take a bolt and cut the head off. And this side, where the hole is, we'll tack it. Once we do that, it'll hold the bucket tight, hold it against here, it'll be bright, and it'll be better for the weather. Let's do this, Timmy. The key to doing this type of metal work is making it totally flush. So a little trick is rubbing your fingernail back and forth. That way you know for sure that one isn't sticking up higher than the other. Just ensures for a nice, even, smooth weld and grind. Lifted suspension back from powder coat, and I'm really happy we went with gold. I know it came out pretty good. It looks good. It looks like something you go buy at the store, right? Yeah. So let's start getting all the suspension components bolted up underneath there, the hangers, the bag mounts and everything, and then we'll put the axles in so we're not working around all that. Hold on. Where are you at? I need to come over right here. Okay, look. Let it touch the frame a minute. I ain't enough. Gotta open more. That's 33 3/4. This is 34 1/4 now. Got a long way to go. So what we're doing is overspreading this so we can install it and not scratch our frame up. Like welding process, the heat makes everything distort a little bit, move and wander around. So we're overspreading it, putting up in place so we can put the bolts in. It's gonna cinch it all up super tight. We're good to go. See, just little tricks like that make all the difference in the world.
Nice and tight, looking right.
We're gonna try to pull this up with straps from the truck itself and try to cause as minimum damage as we can.
You know, when you're building these things, people think this is decorative, but really it's not. Each pipe displaces the weight on the bag mount. You had 1, it'd try to teeter-totter, 2 would rock the other way, 4 makes it solid. So the more you can get, just the better, the beefier it's gonna hold up. And this being a 1.5 ton, you're gonna need all the bag mount, all the support you can get. Now you can see this just completes the whole big, massive, heavy look of the truck we're going for. Just in your face, massive.
Small speaker there. Another small speaker there.
Lifting a brand new Silverado 5500 is definitely going to turn heads. But I also want to make this thing really loud. So John's going to customize the headache rack with a pair of handmade speaker pods, just like you'd see on a wakeboard boat.
We're going to use these speakers as a chipboard and arrange it up here and see how it looks the best. And once it looks good, we'll make it out of metal. I think we'll put a couple bends in it. Give it some character. We'll cut this faceplate out, and then we're gonna end up connecting this to the headache rack with a bunch of little pieces to give it that wakeboard style setup. We'll get this template off of here, go trace it on some metal, and cut it out. Doing custom work like this is always fun. I'm so used to doing, suspension work and metal work, but when it comes to doing metal work outside the box, it's always fun to do something different. Now I got the outside shape cut out. What I'm gonna do is mark 1.25 inches all the way around, and I'm gonna cut that out, and it's gonna leave me 1.25 inches flange to go mount up on the headache rack. And I did a radius here where the speaker's gonna be at. Change it up a little bit. Now all these straight lines were easy because I just, run a torch along a straight edge. It's all about finding a right spot to hold this torch and just pivot it around. Keep it steady. Stumble a little bit, the torch is gonna move, and I'm gonna mess this piece up. I'm gonna start all over. That's how you get it done. I'm gonna draw me some lines where I know to set this up in the metal brake and give it a little break here and there to give it that crazy shape that we're looking for. Now we got a little personality to this. The only thing I gotta do is do the exact same thing to the other piece. We're gonna get to cutting. We're gonna remove all of this out of there. We don't need it. It's gonna give us a much cleaner look without it. I'm free. No more locked doors. Now it's time to clean this up. Take some of this paint off so we can tack our new pieces on. That way we can get these cool tower speakers built on this headache rack. We got everything grinded and sanded down nice and clean. Now we can see what we gotta work with. What I'm gonna do now is tack me a couple pieces from here to the headache rack, and then we're gonna start building our plates off of that. Now I got the frames all on there. Now it's time to fit the speakers inside the frame to see how they fit all in there. This is looking really cool. Imagine this going down the road, music blaring.
The new wheels are 28 by 8.25, and our new tires are 42 by 1550s. They're way too big for our tire machine. So Tim's gonna take them somewhere that'll handle the job.
Should be 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, we definitely got our work cut out for us, man.
It's on there. Phase 1.
We're gonna let this beautiful machine here and that robo arm kind of push down on these sidewalls so we can get underneath there and make sure that thing fits for you.
Usually the shop, if we have something big like this, we gotta grab some big pro bars and do it on the ground. Like butter. boy and get it rolling.
So because we work on everyday cars, this actually has a regulator on there to keep my guy safe. Because this is a 1550 on a 28 8.25 wheel, we're gonna hook up a direct line and just straight on air.
There it goes.
That's good. Perfect. Done.
Woo. Man, I was just joking about 10 or 15 minutes, but y'all made that look super easy. You got
Sounds
it,
good.
What's up, man?
That's looking good, man.
Yeah, once that grill's in there, man, it's gonna look really, really good.
We definitely want to take our time to make it right. You know, get the angles right. You want to look at it wherever you're at it. You want it to look cool.
Coolness from every angle.
Right. Finishing the sides in, boxing it in is going to be pretty critical on something like this.
Mm-hmm.
I got the chipboard, got the tape. Start making it.
Hell yeah.
The puzzle has begun.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you just never know where this is gonna take you, right? It's a work bed, but you still want it to look cool. You want it different, right? You don't want to be like the same one going down the street.
Yeah. If I was to see this thing going down the road, I'd be like, man, I want one of those.
Right. So it's a great start right here. You're creating the coolness factor as we go. So you want to really get back. Once you get a couple steps in, we'll get back and really see how that's flowing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing about custom, right? Is making it your own, making it cool, making somebody go, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's what we do this for. It's got a little flatness right here. Let's get a back piece on here. See if we can change it up a little bit. Yeah, man, that looks good. Yeah.
Bill got a good start on laying this out for me, so I know exactly what he wants. Now I can go and take his template, trace this on some metal, get to cutting and breaking it. I'm gonna start breaking on here, and then I'm gonna break this line, and I'll do the two ends last. And by doing this, we'll get one nice clean piece with a few breaks in it instead of a bunch of welding going on, which will tend to cause warping. Now we got the outside cap. I'm gonna start building this inside piece for the bottom. I'm getting all my measurements off of what we already built here and transferring them over to this piece of sheet metal that's gonna fit these contours here. I'm gonna take it over to the brake, bend it. And it's just so much better trying to do this as one piece of metal than having so much work on the body guys. They could give me a pat on the back when I'm done. I'm gonna tack this up here, front and back, and then trim off all the excess. Now we got the bottom panel in, we can continue over the top, connect the two. Because the issue I'm having is the speaker mount is higher than the rest. And I'll go back and mold this in with some more material and make it look like it's supposed to be like that. And it is supposed to be like that. Shh, don't tell nobody. Get that all molded up and make it look good. This is one of those things that had to be done for clearance issues, but at the same time of just notching it out, we could also make it look cool.
Man, John, this thing looks so good. That's something you definitely don't see every day, right?
Right, definitely.
This thing is going to be loud. Having built a few lifted trucks in our day, you know, you got to think about how you're going to climb up in it. So we made some brand new running boards for our Chevy 5500. We got the truck over on the 4-post lift. It's way easier to work on this thing, you know, perfect height, just the height you're working at, and no post in the way. What we did is take off the factory steps, and they're going to replace it with a piece of sheet metal that we had in our spot for our toolboxes. Cleans it up a lot, huh? Hides all that, and gives it a little style too.
Way better. Now it looks complete.
Let's give it a quick little rough cut. Yeah, anytime you're doing something like this where, you know, you get one shot at it, you know, it's a little bit of work taking this thing on and off, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, but, you know, it's a lot more work to go back and have to recreate something you already cut off too much of. Looks like a factory part. I guess the next step is cutting the holes out, and we'll get these boxes in. Man, I kind of like it right there. Little cut lines. Man, that looks way better, huh? No more flatness. Gives us some depth, and it's useful. Take me some measurements here. You know, the speaker pods are done, but we're not finished with the audio. I want to fill some of the built-in boxes in the bed with speakers and amps. And John's over in the interior shop making some amp racks right now.
We got 9 amplifiers total going in this thing. This thing's gonna be a monster. Get the Brad. When we have the other set of amplifiers stacked over here, we'll be able to just travel up and down through here with our wires and get this thing drawn out and make a pretty cool looking little amp rack. Then we'll get all those cut out. We'll have amplifier here. Bam, bam, bam. Next thing I'm gonna do, cut out some 1/4-inch strips, get them stapled on. We'll go over the router, flush trim all this out. So next step I got is take my template that I made, transfer it over onto the aluminum so I can go rough cut it out. By far the worst part of working with aluminum is having to rough cut it because you have to do it by hand. All you can do is just get after it and cut it and settle in for a long journey because it's not easy. Alright, we just take our double-sided stick tape here, lay it up, get it stuck to this aluminum. Basically what we've got here is some dish soap. I like to use this stuff here for a lubricant for cutting aluminum. If you mess up cutting it, there's no fixing it. You just throw it away and start all over, and that's never fun for anybody. I've watched guys lose their jobs over scrapping parts. Not something I want to do. Alright, pull these apart. Alright, clean this off. Go over to Jesse, get him to... Bill can't leave well enough alone. He'd have to go get 2 speakers out of the shop. So I brought him a box. He said, no, 2 boxes. So he's gonna pull more speakers to the front. So the back's gonna be loud, and now the front's gonna be loud. My brand new Silverado medium duty is almost done. We're gonna add a winch and a place for even more speakers. Man, this is exactly what this thing has to have. Some kind of forward projection. So the 6.5-inch wake tower speakers are just perfect. Really hope people like Bill's music. You're gonna be listening to exactly what he's listening to. After all the work we did to the bed, it's time to get it over to body and paint so we can color match everything all black.
Welcome in, guys. Welcome in.
Now the only thing left is putting all the pieces together.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah.
We're installing the amp rack, running boards, and speaker grills. Huge billet dually wheels, and then it's ready for its world premiere. You know, it's great working with great craftsmen, and it's even cooler to work with. Strive to do better, and do better, and do better.
I never had an older brother, so I've always looked at Bill as that older brother you look up to that always had the cooler stuff. Way older brother.
Me and Tim have this kind of sibling rivalry for sure. We're always pushing each other, you know, when we're building things for ourselves. He's working on his own car. You go by, you're like, oh man, what is, let this get by, Tim? I don't let him get by with stuff he would, you know, try to do on his truck, and him the same with me.
We have a competition with each other, but we want the best for his, best for mine. End of the day, we're still putting extensive on both of them. So he and I do push each other to go to the max because it's us against everybody, not just him against me. You know, we're trying to set the bar on the whole car industry. Thanks, older bro.
Every year we have an open house at the shop. We got friends, family, old customers, and hopefully some new ones. And I can't wait to show them what we've been up to. It's always cool to, you know, have parties like this, have an open house, and just, you know, see what comes through the door. And for sure, stuff like this is exactly what, you know, gets me excited. You know, you never know what's going to come through the gate, but you got to go see what's going on. How old is he?
4 months.
4 months? man, he's cool. Man, this thing's crazy. You know, there's a certain kind of person that loves lifted trucks. And for them, a brand new Chevy 5500 medium duty, 14 inches in the air, is going to blow them away.
Hey, you guys, come on over. I want to show you guys something. Come on. Come on over.
For real, thank you guys for coming out, you know, and always supporting, you know, myself, my team, Extensive. It says a lot to me. You know, you guys coming out. I know it's pre-food and pre-beer, but thanks for coming.
Thanks, Bill.
I got all you guys together. You know, I want you guys to check out the latest Extensive build and tell me what you think. All right, Timmy, come on out with it. Example of just teamwork makes the dream work. Brand new medium duty Silverado. When I got this thing, it was just a cabin chassis, just basic work truck, no frills whatsoever. So first thing we did is got it in the shop, put it on the lift, and got it at the height that looked good. Push the button again, a little higher. Push the button again, a little. All right, cool. Get the axles down in the right spot and just build everything from the truck down to the ground. Starting out with the big, huge 4-link underneath this thing, big bags. This thing gets 14 inches of lift from all the way down to all the way up, totally adjustable. You know, if you're gonna have a big 4x4 truck like this, you gotta have some unique, cool wheels on this thing. 28-inch dually wheels with big 42-inch tall tires. You know, I wanted to go something totally different and do a utility bed. You know, nobody does a bed like this on a truck like this.
Typical Bill fashion, when we got the bed, couldn't leave well enough alone. You think you can bolt the bed on this thing? Yeah, I never worked with Bill Carlton. He had to change up the whole bed, tail lights, side, added some speakers on the top.
Well, if you're gonna have a stereo, you gotta have a stereo. I wanted like a wakeboard style stereo in the headache rack. Somebody behind me, they ain't gonna be able to hear either. And we put 10 Rockford Tower speakers all throughout the bottom of this thing. So not only that, it's gonna hit just as good. There's a ton of stereo just inside also. You know, we utilize every compartment in this thing just to be loud. From the speakers behind the grill to the winch, this thing's ready to party and get to work. Now you gotta be able to get in this big old truck, right? So had to make some steps, had to build some running boards and incorporated, you know, toolboxes in this thing just to break up some of the smoothness that's in between there. You know, tie everything together and give it a little style. I really appreciate all you guys coming out and checking this thing out. Another example, teamwork right here. And this is what happens. Everybody comes together and makes some cool stuff. You guys walk around this thing, check it out. Let me know how we did.
Truck is unreal. I'd love to build something like this one day. The way they did the speakers up here, that's amazing, man. I mean, you don't see that type of work made out of metal. Big 42 tires on them 28s, they're wrapped pretty good looking.
Man, I love this Bill, man. Bill showed out again, man. I'm definitely going to pull up to the shop and take this one out on the weekend and pull up to the club. And
reaction of these guys, we did what we were supposed to do. And when you're building a custom truck, every part and piece plays upon the whole bed. There's so much customization on this thing. It'd take you 2 hours to see everything that's going on from bumper to bumper. This thing's gonna bring a lot of business to the put 24 15s in the back of this thing. John's gonna build a crazy interior. Check this out. We were a little fooled on this thing. What else it was doing before it got here? It doesn't matter. This thing is just gonna be a game-changing badass car.
Damn, Bill, look at that. Oh, man.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. Because my shop sits on the same plot of land where I grew up on the north side of Houston, I feel like my neighbors basically grew up with us. Some of them even became a big part of our team like members. And today, we're giving a build back to a fellow Northsider.
Growing up as a little kid, I lived in the neighborhood. I would see all these cool trucks just drive by my house. First thing you talk about is, hey, have you talked to Bill? Have you gone to Extensive? Check out what they're building next. I saw this Ram. First thing in my mind was, I got to drive this over to Bill, lay it out on the floor, some big wheels. It's going to be awesome when it's done.
What's happening, man?
What's up? How you been?
Real good, real good.
I'm ready to see this truck, man. I've been excited about it since the day I dropped it off.
I know you have. The new Dodge, and that's the first time we ever got one in, with the new body style to put this thing on the ground. It definitely had some challenges, but this thing is nice, man. It's nice. So let's check it out.
Absolutely, man. Let's go. Oh, damn, Bill. Man, that thing looks sick. This thing's gonna turn heads no matter what.
This thing looks good.
This thing looks better than good, man. This thing is amazing. Golly, Bill. Man, that thing sits all the way down to the ground. You outdid yourself on this.
Hope you like your truck, man.
Man, it's a dream come true.
It's all the way to the floor like you wanted it.
Absolutely, man. That thing looks good. There's a ton of work in engineering that makes a vehicle to day in and day out. We tore out all the factory suspension and just started over. We built new control arms, new tooling.
That looks sick, man.
Big 26-inch billet wheels with this truck sitting low. It just changes the whole look of this thing,
man,
right?
It's tucking that wheel like crazy, man. I'm surprised that you even got it that low for me, man.
A lot of work was involved to get this thing all the way on the ground like that. So everything on top of the wheel tubs all have to be relocated. So we went back and made nice brackets for everything. When you pop the hood, it looks like it came that way.
Yeah. Shoot, man, I'm gonna be dreaming like a kid tonight.
I got some good guys. I didn't do it all myself. Lulu stepped up and really took charge of this thing, and he built most of the suspension components on this thing and installed it, man.
Bringing it to you guys here at Extensive, I knew it was in good hands.
Were you ready to ride?
Absolutely, man. I want to get this thing on the road.
Well, man, have fun with this thing.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it very much, man. You and the team. Appreciate it, man.
Have fun. Let us know how it does. The north side has been good to Extensive. Of course, we take pride in every build that rolls out, but it means a little something extra when you see that build driving around the neighborhood. Picked up a 1996 Impala for our customer of ours, Pete, and today he's coming by to figure out exactly what we're going to do to this thing.
What up, Pete? What's going on, Bill? How you been? Man, good. So you picked it up, huh?
It's a cool car, man.
Yeah, it is, man, it is.
The 1996 Impala was the car back in the 90s. Even today, they're highly sought after. Part of the appeal of this thing is it came with a small block LT1 V8, which packed a lot of power back in the 90s. I know you've been dreaming about this thing for years and years.
Yes, sir. I've been wanting to bring you a car for so long. I was about 8 when the car first came out. Just loved them. Everybody had them in my neighborhood. You kind of like grow up loving the car that you loved in your childhood.
So what do you want to do with this thing, Pete?
Really want to make this car a game changer. I want to have the baddest Impala out there.
That's why you're here, right?
Yeah.
This car's been around for, 25 plus years, and, people have been customizing them for 25 years. Pretty much everything has been done to these things you can possibly think of, but I got a couple ideas. Of course, we got to get this thing really low to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
24s all the way around, but not just that, a 2415 in the back of this thing. Just a big with a low profile, wide billet wheel.
That's definitely going to stand out.
It's going to set this thing apart from every other Impala. To change the game, we got to change the frame. We're going to cut the frame off right underneath the back seat and build it from there all the way back to give these billet wheels plenty of room to go up underneath that body. Man, I love this car too in black. It fits it. So I just freshen up the paint, freshen up the bumpers, freshen up the lights, the hood. Let's get rid of that cow hood, man. That was a rage, 20 years ago, but we can't have that now.
Yeah, I know it.
Inside, the interior of this thing.
Yeah. Well, Well, I ripped it out a while back. Had plans for it and just really never put it back in. I was thinking we're doing something one of a kind on the outside, but why not do something special, fully custom on the inside?
Man, you know I got the guys for that.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
John and his guys will really get in this thing and just build you something just totally cool.
90s foundation, but with that 2021 look.
There you go, man. This thing's definitely going to be a game changer.
That sounds great, Bill. Let's make it happen.
Back in the 90s, this Impala was the car. This was every kid's dream back then. But now, years later, these kids are all grown up and wanting to go back and purchase their dream, going to be Pete's dream car. There's nothing cooler than that, to build someone's dream and to be able to present it to them. Pete wants to change the game with this car, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of most of the 90s modifications like the cow hood or like embroidery in the door panels. Just bring in the new style, the new look. The name of the game is starting fresh.
How to get started, huh?
Yeah. Easy work right here.
Man, I've always liked these big body Impalas. Pretty much everything's been done one of these 100 times over, right?
Yeah, they kind of seem to look the same.
Oh, Pete, he wants a game changer on this thing, so we're going to do something different that I've never seen before.
This is never a good sign. This equals a lot of work.
Always a lot of work. All right, first things first, let's get the rear end out of this thing, the exhaust, gas tank, and just cut the frame off, the front and back wheels back. We'll build a subframe, and then we'll tie it into the factory existing frame.
Okay.
And then we're going to incorporate air suspension in with it also.
Oh, wow.
We're going to put 24 tires, so it's going to be, that's a lot of tire.
So we're bagging this on the ground with a 16-inch wide tire.
The rear end's going to be what, about this wide?
Yeah, pretty much. Ooh. You see this thing parked somewhere, it's going to make you pay attention, right?
Definitely.
Totally change the game with this thing. Narrow the rear end, super narrow to accommodate and get really low to the ground.
We're going to tub this thing all the way over to here and tub this one all the way to here. You can delete the whole back seat.
John and the guys in the interior, I'm sure they'll come up with something cool to fill in that little space there. We already got a little head start. There's no interior, so we can just get right to cut. If you're going to have a Impala, you got to have a black Impala, right? Just keep it black. This thing's a 96 model, so it's showing its age, of course. So we want to go through the outside of this thing, freshen up the bumpers, new grille, the lights, make this thing look good. Ready to do this? Good.
That's it.
Tim and Jamie are tearing all the suspension out and cutting the frame right behind the back seat all the way to the bumper. So we can build a whole new subframe that'll hold these big old 24 by 15 inch tires. Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. That's your rear frame.
Before we make room for the big wheels, Julio's going to take out the rear glass.
We got to lose a couple of bolts that are touching the glass. After that, we're just going to start cutting on the glass. This is not supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be an easy job. Whoa, look at that. Mr. Bill, I need to show you something real quick. I think I know why they're giving me a hard time. They put Bondo over it.
We were a little fooled on this thing. Back in the day, Impalas were out of reach for a lot of people, but we could get an old comp car for a third of the price you could for Impala. Just do whatever you got to do to get this out of the way, and we'll take it from there. Somebody obviously took a Caprice and tried to make it into Impala. Caprices were pretty much the exact same body style with very subtle differences. And one of the differences was the back quarter glass. The Caprice had a big triangle back glass, the Empus on the back. Caprice, Impala, shoddy craftsmanship, to say the least. You know, every build has a story to tell. Of course, some stories are just way more interesting than others.
Oh, man.
That's definitely a bullet hole. In 10 minutes, we found out this thing isn't a real Impala, and it's been in a shootout. Bet that's not the only one in here.
Bad part or bullet hole?
Both. No telling what else we're going to find when we start cutting on this thing, right? It's never fun giving a customer bad news. But old Pete, you know, he thought he was bringing us the car of his dreams. That 1996 Impala, but what he brought us was Impasta, a 1996 Caprice that looked like an Impala. I gotta break the news to him. Pete, what's happening?
Hey, what's going on, Bill? How's the car coming along?
We did run across a couple things I wanted to run by you. That's why I wanted to talk to you this morning.
Oh.
Yeah, we were picking at some body wear, and one of the things uncovered not only a bullet hole in it.
I found a bullet hole in the car? Created that.
You know it. We also dug a little more, kept digging, and found out your car isn't an Impala. It's a Caprice. Somebody converted it, made it look like Impala when it's really a Caprice.
No, that was the thing back in the days. Everybody was converting them Caprices to Impalas.
Right. Before we got any deeper in your car, I just want to make sure you're cool with that.
Of course, I prefer to have an Impala, but in this case, I don't see that being a reason to stop this.
You know, I totally agree. No matter what it is, Impala, Caprice, it doesn't matter. This thing is just going to be a game-changing, badass car.
I already know.
This thing's going to be way better than before. And the way better than before version gets really, really low on those big 2415s. Building a subframe just on the back of this car. So from the ground up to where the tires would bottom out with the air suspension, and then back down to catch the back of the bumper. 13. You know, so we got our side profile measurements. Only thing left to do is drop this thing down, get some levels out on each side to know exactly how wide the body is.
What's up?
Dude, look at this.
No way.
You know, we found the bullet hole, right?
Oh, man, that's a slug from it, huh? Damn. I wonder how long that's been in there.
It's like a 9mm.
Man.
I would hate to been in the back seat.
It's been shot at. I wonder what else it was doing before it got here.
There ain't no telling.
Right?
Let's hold the level on the other side of the body.
Okay.
I'll hold it on this side. We'll get our measurement of exactly how wide this body is. Then we know how much room we got to work with. Right in the middle of the fender well.
Uh-huh.
When you let all the air out of this thing, it's going to drop way, way, way low. Basically, the tire is going to sit in the window jamb itself. So we can't be off an 1/8 inch. You don't want to have the tire rubbing the body, and then you'll have a big paint blister where the paint was heated up from the tire rubbing. This is 75.5. We got our outside dimensions established, so now we're going to come in from our outside dimension to where exactly the tire is going to sit, and we'll come in 2.5 inches. Then we know, with a couple subtractions, exactly how wide this frame needs to be. That's what we got. The frame needs to be 35.5 inches wide. We're going to be putting 24, which is huge for anything, much less a, Impala. This thing is wide. So that is outer part to where the wheel mounts, 12 inches. To fit those big old 24 by 15 inch wheels, Jamie has to shorten the axle.
First thing I need to do is go ahead and drain the rear end before I start pulling anything else out. It's really important to keep all of the pieces right here together because there's shims in there. You don't want to misalign those shims because you'll start rubbing or wear your ring and pinion out. That's what I like to do, so I know I don't mix each side up, is I'll make a punch mark. 3 on this side, 2 on this side, so I never get mixed up. So next thing I gotta do is go ahead and pull this bolt. It's gonna release this pin right here. Once I pull this pin, then my axle should slide right out.
So the clips right there is what holds the axles in the housing. A limited slip differential is basically lets both axles move freely so you're able to turn corners without the tires chirping. Burp, 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 burp. Now this is out, so I'm going to take out 8 inches on each side. I'm scribing the rear end to make sure it goes back perfectly the way it was. So scribing it like that, I can line up my mark to make sure the brake rotors are exactly clocked the same way. This is my last cut. Took 8 inches out both sides. Go ahead and bring it over the next side. Go ahead and weld it out. It's going on basically just like it came off, minus the 8 inches. I got everything squared up, lined up with my scribe mark. Basically, if this was out of whack, that would mean your axle would be crooked in there. That could wear out the bearings in here, the seals on the outside. So it's really important that this is perfectly straight. Everything's smoothed out. You can see my welds. Don't even look like they were over there before. Looks like it came like this from the factory. It's perfect. Our frame is going to be made out of 2x3 rectangle tubing, and we're going to lay that out on the table right here in exact measurements. Let's see what we got here. 45 degrees. Once we have our frame laid out on the table, we're going to make templates with our chipboard. Then we can take our templates right over to the saw. Bam, Timmy, it works good. We cut it 1 time and 1 time's on the money.
Now we have all the puzzle pieces cut for this frame. They line up right with the lines we made earlier. Now we have them all cut. They have these little birds on them here. What you do is come back, clean them birds off. We'll put a little bit of bevel on each side, so it'll make like a valley for the weld to sit in. What that does, it'll let the weld penetrate all the way through, and you won't have a bunch of welds sticking up on top. It'll actually bend down into the metal, make it look smooth, and be a good, real clean weld that gets all the way through.
Timmy did a great job fitting everything together. Everything looks 100%. That's exactly what we want. The gaps to fit perfect, beveled, nice, smooth, 45 degrees. You know, starting out with a good foundation, always 100% key. You know, I've been welding a lot of years. So is my dad, so is my grandpa. My welding pedigree goes way back. Owning a custom car business, you know, gets a little monotonous dealing with phones, emails, paperwork. All that really gets in the way of my true and creating. You know, that's what I love to do, and that's what I'm going to do till I'm not around anymore. You know, Timmy, even though this thing turned out being a Caprice and not an Impala, putting these big old wheels underneath that car, it instantly becomes cool, right?
That might even be better than it's a Caprice. There's some cool Impalas out there. How many cool Caprices have you seen out there?
No doubt. If you're a Caprice owner, or if you're an Impala owner, you're going to be envious of this. Keegan, you ready for the day?
Yes, sir.
You know, as much as I achieve personally, there's nothing better than riding to work with my son, Keegan. He pretty much grew up around the shop. He has his own hopes and dreams, but he's coming to the shop with me a couple days a week, you know, just like my dad did for me. You know, you're out of high school now, going to college, just coming in day here and there.
Yeah, I'm really glad to, you know, finally do something instead of, of course, wasting my days away at home.
Hard work, work ethic, that's what I want to pass down to him. You're learning getting up every day, using that fire down in your chest. Set a goal, see it through all the way to the end, and do a good job.
No cutting corners.
No, sir. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Job one around here is making what the client wants. So we're going to turn this 96 Caprice right into the Impala that the owner wants, plus some. We cut the floor, installed a new custom subframe, and mocked up the suspension. So now Jamie's gonna build the wheel tubs to fit those big 24x15s.
So you can see how big these tires are. It's a lot of wheel. In order to get this all the way up inside the wheel well, we're gonna have to cut a lot of this wheel well out. So basically I'm gonna bottom this out. We can actually see what we need to cut out inside of the car to bottom this big wheel up in there. Okay, so you can see I'm using this wooden block to kind of give me a guide right here. Just a quick little trick that I use just to trace out the wheel well to get the same dimension as the wheel here. I'm using an 1.5 block because I have an 1.5 space in between bottoming out on my rear end. That's my little step to get it in there. I don't want to overcut anything. Okay, so I got these spaces right here, basically 1/4 inch between my tub and my wheel so it'll never rub. I'm gonna go ahead and set my wheel tub on top. Got them mocked up exactly where I want to put them. Go ahead and pull these big old wheels off and pull my sheet metal to the edge of the body. Woo. So you can see the size of these tubs, the length of my arm. What I need to do is go ahead and add sheet metal to my tub to bring it out to the body. Just keep adding piece by piece, trying to get my rear quarters in first, and then I'm gonna walk all my sheet metal this way, and then I'll tie in the rest in the rear tub. I chose to do it this way because trying to do this in one piece would be pretty time consuming, so I'm gonna go with quick and efficient. While Jamie's finishing up the rear tubs, John's gonna get going on the custom door panels.
All right, looking at this door panel, it only has one line on it that I really like, and that's the separation between the top piece and the bottom piece. We're gonna keep this piece that matches up to the strip it, cut it up, and work off of that to make the whole bottom completely new. Step 1, cut it. Step 2, make it better. We're just gonna layer this up, make this 2 different pieces, put some lighting in it. Alright, so I got all my pieces made. Start stacking it up. What we're going to do with this piece of acrylic, we're going to inset it in here so that all you're going to see is just this top edge of it here. It'll all be covered up. We'll have LEDs buried up inside of here. It's just to give us a little detail in the door and light it up. Got them all stacked up, so the next thing we got to do, body work, is sit down and start sanding. Pretty much, we body work more than the body shop.
I don't move very often. I just sit here and do several hours a day, body working days at a time. I have no fingerprints left. This is what I do.
While Brian's over there in his world of body work, doing his thing, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the bottom half of the door. I'm gonna start by making this base panel. Then from that base panel, we'll take our baffle and build that up from there. Get that chip out. All the door panels are laid up, everything's ready to go. So the next step we're gonna do, start laying fiberglass. After this, we go straight into body work.
Man, looks good, man. Them wheel tubs come up high, huh? Man, they are right there underneath the windows. That's a lot of tire to fit in there, but
yeah, man. We're making good progress at turning this 96 Caprice into a one-of-a-kind Impala.
You know, John's gonna build a crazy interior in this thing, and it'd be real cool to be able to have the whole interior flow all the way back and have all this open. How are we gonna do that? We cut this out, and John can build out all the way around it. You can see the enclosure. You'll be able to see all that nice and open. I don't think I've seen that before. It's gonna be cool, man. There's nothing structural about it now, and so cutting this out is not gonna affect anything. Just cut right on this line right here. Okay. And let's get this totally all the way to the hinges. There won't be another Impala like this. Nah, definitely not. So Bill just walked by and just glanced at this and just got an idea.
do that. Removing the metal underneath the rear glass means you'll just see all the way into the trunk. All the custom box, speakers, amps, everything.
That's pretty cool, huh?
It is.
I think we cut it even more. Just cut this out.
Yeah.
I mean, the glass is right here, so
Yeah, I need to live.
might as well make it to there.
You know, I'm always pushing myself just to see what would make a build even better. It's definitely a blessing and a curse because it always adds time we don't have. But man, I don't want it any other way.
Looks good. I'm actually glad we ended up doing this. Just looking at it right now, it looks so much better. It's unique. I'm really excited about this car.
We finished the suspension and metalwork on the 96 Caprice. Before we roll it into interior, Keegan and I are going to get on this exhaust.
What's up? The last thing we got to do before this thing goes over to the stereo shop is exhaust. So you can help me do that and get you a little experience under your belt. Sounds good? This is cool. This is the lowest point. Shaft is not going to come any lower this way. We can put the muffler as high up as we can, super close to the drive shaft, and we're good.
I've been working here ever since I can remember. I've become really good at sweeping up floors and cleaning up around the shop and making it somewhat clean.
We have to go around this transmission mount here and then go all the way over and tie straight into that. We use this to give us a little angle instead of just eyeballing it.
It's always cool learning and working on stuff like this, putting this exhaust together with my dad. It finally gives me a little experience under my belt.
This is what the angles we need here. Bend that, it should fit right on the money. You know, it's pretty cool to have my son up at work, maybe pass down a couple things that my dad passed down to me. Stay on this side of it till the last minute when you can just reach over. Don't put your body on this side of the blade. It's a good feeling to be able to teach him a few things while he's here. If we build it in, that should fit on that perfect. Even underneath here, something simple as exhaust, you still want it to look good and be proud of what you do.
Of course. You wouldn't want to have a nice, beautiful car on top, and as soon as you put it on the lift, it looks trashy.
We did that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to work with your dad. Okay. He does that and it's tight. You know, I used to hate working with my dad sometimes because we get into it a lot. Always thought I knew a better way to do it, which did. Man, that'll work. Got a nice little flow to it. Everything's tucked up underneath here. You know, the last little bit is just coming out of the muffler around, and then we'll dump it right here.
Oh, cool. So you're actually not going to see them at the back of it.
That's all it needs on this. And still have a real nice tone to the exhaust, too. You know, the closer you have the muffler to the end of the pipe, the more of a throaty sound. You know, this thing is super tight, so there's no way to really bend what we need to bend and make it clean looking. So what we'll do is use these manual bent pieces, and we'll chop out what we need and just build it piece by piece. I'm not going to force anything on him. If he loves doing this, cool, but I just want him to come to work and learn a skill. Look at that. Little jobs like this and teach him discipline, work ethic, that experience he can use, you know, for the rest of his life. Cut that one. This is going to be on the very end of the exhaust. Saw that and then just make the identical right here. Everything's all mocked up, looks good. Everything's tucked up underneath there. Has a nice flow to it. You did good today.
So that's it. Thank you.
Now it's up to John and Brian to hand build that custom interior.
Back it into my shop. Straight up. Straight.
So here's my thought, man. What if we did 313s right here, mount them far enough back? It'll still give us the idea of that depth back into here, but we're going to have to utilize every bit of airspace. So the box is going to have to be modular. The idea to really make this thing a game changer is to cram as much bass in this trunk as humanly possible. So we're shooting for about 11 cubic feet of airspace to give us the proper output and a smooth bass response. Oh yeah.
That's going to be pretty impressive from this side, man.
That does look kind of good.
I'm thinking, let's do a window in the top of this thing. Right in the center, just something small, just so you can see a little bit of the motor structure in there, because the back of these woofers is going to be just as impressive as the sound on the front of them. But why not have windows in the back so you can see what's going on inside and show off a little bit of your hard work? Our pieces are probably going to have to be as wide as the bracing to hide the screws. So from the side, when you're looking, you don't see a screw sticking down through your filling. You can't just cut a hole and screw a piece of plexiglass to it. It takes a little bit more work than that. You got to have trim around it. You want to make sure it's nice and clean and neat. Short. We'll get that centered up, get that attached. If you're ready to start putting the top together on this box, we'll get all the rest of the pieces made on the back of this thing, man. We'll be good to go.
The four-door body on this 96 Caprice gives us plenty of room to build a badass, crazy interior.
We got the box in place, so what our next step is to make all the side panels and trim in over the wheel tubs and over all of the structure for the trunk.
Got some panels.
Do they fit?
I don't know. Probably not.
Oh. What we're doing right now is we're just going to get the base structure in place. Once we get the base structure in place, from there we'll take chipboards down to the wheel tub. That way it'll all be one big panel that'll slide out together. If everything was planned out properly and Brian did his part right.
Why are you gonna blame me for it all?
Better you than me. We got all our pieces in here, all of our chipboards done. So now we're going to go in and reinforce everything with some fiberglass and some resin. Once it's dry, we can pull it out, and this will actually turn this all into one panel from the top all the way around the wheel tub. Get it body worked on top of that, and then we'll see if it comes out like a glove. Watch. You broke it.
Not yet.
Well,
I forgot it was in there.
You didn't have to redo it. Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at that.
So what I'm seeing is we got to put all this in before they put the glass in. It'll go in from the front side. These panels worked out good. I'm glad they came out and didn't break. We don't have to fix anything.
Yeah.
So all we have left to do is everything else.
When this car was made, the defining difference between a Caprice and Impala was that side quarter glass. We cut out a couple of pieces from an old Impala quarter skin so we can turn this Caprice.
So I got a piece from another Impala. It's actually the proper window piece. Something that I need to pay attention to is the gap right here on the door for the window. So making sure this is in the proper place is very key. I'm trying to take this thing apart as easy as possible. So I cut out my panel. It's loose in here, but the spot tacks are still holding it. So I'm just gonna lightly chisel in between to separate the panels. All right. I have these lines marked right here because my window's got to fit right here in these holes. So I need to make sure that it's on the money. Really what I'm focused on is this body line right here. Looks good. I'm going to put a few tacks on it. Fit my window, make sure my window's good. This piece is exactly where I want it. My gap's even all the way down. That's money, man. We'll go ahead and continue welding this out. Kind of spread my heat out evenly so I didn't get any kind of warpage in this panel because that could happen real quick. Okay, so you can see we went from Caprice to Impala. Got the panel welded in there. Everything's ground down. Everything looks good. So now all we got to do is take care. First thing I got to do is go ahead and just cut out the metal around this hole. Believe it or not, this is not the first bullet hole I've patched in cars. I worked at body shops, restoration, stuff like that, and I've seen some older cars, you know, like Bonnie and Clyde, that have had bullet holes riddled in them. You know, it's still the real Wild West out here in Texas. So you see, got the bullet hole out finally. Got my other piece already made for it. Same radius. Same. Gonna make that bullet hole disappear. Take it to the metal doctor. So I got the bullet hole taken out, new metal put in, sprayed for a little body filler. Can't mess with Texas.
With the bodywork being finished, this thing looks even better than a 1996 Impala. Edgar's painting it in a classic gloss black. Over in the interior, John and Brian are wrapping up all their hand-built parts in black vinyl and blue suede.
We have a good contrast of materials in here. We've got soft vinyl, shiny vinyl. We've got our suede. You get a lot of depth and some dimension to this. Check this out.
Let's see.
Oh, that with the lights down in the bottom pocket of the door,
In the console,
in the trunk.
it's gonna look like a UFO at nighttime.
Just a big black UFO with blue lights coming at you. I'm clear over here. Come down, and then back. Now that that's in, just a matter of following the puzzle and putting the pieces together. Get all three of the sub amps in it. There's a glare coming off the top of this thing up here.
Must be nice to have a whole head full of hair.
It is. There's a little over 10,000 watts going in this car, so this thing ought to scream.
I never met my grandpa, but hearing my dad talk about his dad and how hard he was on everyone to get up, go to work, he definitely passed that down to my dad, and I'm definitely passed it down to him. You know, a lot of times I hated getting up, going to work with him, but now, you know, I really, really do appreciate, you know, my dad showing me the ropes. That's one of the reasons why I make your butt get up and come to the shop and, you know, learn.
Constantly learning, constantly getting better at anything you do is really important. No matter what it is, either sweeping the floors or working on my dad, I've definitely taken it no matter what I do.
Not only did my dad teach me a craft, but he also taught me how to be successful. You know, maybe one day he'll be able to pass down the tools for success. You know, put your mind to something, accomplish the goals, and do it right the first time. We don't want no kids anytime soon.
Yes, I know. I know.
Grandpa, yeah.
I know.
Time coming. Pete's been dreaming about this Impala since the 90s, and today his dream is gonna come true. Pete said you wanted something cool, wanted to set this car totally apart from all the rest. I think we did our job most definitely. We changed the Impala game.
What's up, Pete? Oh, nothing much, Bill. How you doing?
Man, all right.
Got that call from this morning. You sounded pretty excited.
Yeah, man.
Can't wait to see it.
That car came in, it was hurting. We were throwing for a little loop, you know, halfway through the build, finding out it was really a Caprice and not an Impala. But where we're at now, it doesn't matter. Caprice, Impala, you just got one cool-ass car.
Let me see it, Bill. Come on. Where's it at? Come on with it. Damn, Bill. Look at that. Oh, that. Golly. Look at them big old wheels. Damn. That's exactly what I wanted. Look at them 15s. They all the way in there, Bill. Man, when I saw that thing go down and just swallow up that back wheel, that thing looked ridiculous.
How we do, Pete?
I mean, I'm still trying to pick up my jaw, man.
First thing you see, man, those huge wheels sitting low to the ground and the 2415 on the back of this thing.
Oh, yeah.
In order to get it all the way down, we cut the frame off right by the back seats. It's all new underneath there. Air suspension, never were in this thing a ride and drive better than a brand new car.
Didn't doubt, Bill, but I seen it as a heck of a project. But he did it. I've never seen anything like that before.
We went through this thing front to back. New bumpers, new light lenses, new everything. Clean, man.
Clean. That all blacked out look with the billet wheels just sets it off. And I love the idea of taking the emblems off. I mean, to me, it's not even an Impala anymore, Bill. It's a 2021 SS.
Somebody ask you what it is, that's what you're going to tell them.
That's what I'm going to tell them every single time.
And what was in there was just tired. Yeah. So I just said, John, here. Pete wants this thing one of a kind, and he wants it loud.
We got a total of 5 amps in this thing.
Wow.
Just on the subwoofers alone, there's over 7,500 watts. When it comes down the road, it's going to be quaking.
Ryan got down with the custom door panels on this thing, really went over the top. We have an 8-inch, a 6-inch, and 2 Pro tweeters in each door.
You turn this thing up, it will actually literally hurt you.
Yes.
I don't know if I want to drive it first or hear it first.
You can do both of them at the same time. So all that's going on in there, check this out.
Oh, man. What?
Rear deck is gone.
I see that.
Bill cut out the whole deck back here. We got it all tubbed out. We got the clean lines running the door panels, all just flowing to the back of the car. Got it stair step down on those acrylic pieces with the lights shining in through. So when this thing is going down the road at night, it's got a blue glow coming out of it. Looks like a spaceship coming at you.
It already looks like a spaceship on the outside.
Check this out.
Oh, man. What'd you do? Put a motor back here?
That's the engine to your sound system right there, man. We touched every inch, front to back.
Man,
Is that crazy enough?
I'm in love, Bill. Love at first sight. Thank you, guys, man. This is everything I could have dreamed of and wanted.
Killed it. Looking in this car, seeing all that blue, black, the lighting, the crazy stereo. I've not seen another Impala like this.
Awesome.
And still be able to haul all his other trucks. We're making one of the longest frames we ever made. New, huge 4-link and incorporate the gooseneck hitch in. We can top the line. This 57 Chevy Bel Air Pro Mod is pretty rare to see one with a diesel in it.
Approximately 3,000 horsepower.
It looks like it's been an accident. The hood of that thing, man, is rough.
It had an exhaust leak out of the side right here.
We were just getting made fun of in the pits. Just needs a little bit of TLC. Oh my gosh, bro! Freaking big car.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You know, it gets a little intense around the shop, so we've had dogs around. You know, Timmy confiscated Blue, so, you know, I decided to take my daughter, Presley, off to the pound to go get a new shop dog. What's up, man? How you doing? Hey. What you think, Presley? He's good size, huh?
Yeah.
I think we ought to get him out, check him out.
Yeah, me too.
He's a little skittish, but
Yeah.
it'll be all right.
Yeah, I think he's a good shop dog, but I had my eye on one I want to take home too.
You know, we got enough at home right now.
I mean, there's always room for one more. It's okay though.
I think we found our new shop dog.
Yeah.
Come on.
Butch.
Like Cleve or something.
No, Butch.
Cleve?
Butch. Come on.
You know, I always get excited seeing a new project roll in. You know, you always hear talk on the phone, hey, I'm going to bring you this, I'm going to bring you that, but, you know, it's never real until the project actually gets onto the property. And seeing this thing backed up, I'm ready to get going. Made it, huh?
Yes, sir. So what you gonna do to this thing?
Man, I don't even know yet.
No?
I guess I'm going to have to get with the owner and really see what's going on, right? I was expecting a new dually. I didn't realize it was a brand new dually. You know, it's a beautiful, beautiful 2020 GMC Denali dually. One of my personal favorites, just seeing a dually come in. You know, he's got the right idea.
It's gonna be nasty.
Man, I appreciate it, man.
Let me know when it's done, bro.
You got it.
All right, bro.
This 3500 Denali dually was shipped from the owner in Kansas City with a top-of-the-line 6.6 turbo diesel. It's a good-looking truck. It's a beautiful truck. You know, I can't wait to talk to him to really see what we're doing to this thing. It's going to be a great, great project. JD, what's happening?
Yeah, hey, what's going on, Bill?
Another day in paradise here at Extensive.
Oh, yeah, always.
Man, we got a big white GMC dually outside with your name on it. What's your idea here?
I'm thinking to lower this one, set it on the ground. I love dualies. I've had one for years. I've always lifted them.
You know, I just love
a big 4-door dually with 6 28-inch wheels all the way around this thing, flat on the ground, with an addition of air suspension.
You know, I'm ready to shock people when they see this thing.
Yeah, I've never seen one of those sitting on the ground. Never even heard of anybody.
But, you know, just slam one.
JD, you're in the right spot for sure, man.
See, I'm excited.
How are you going to be using this thing? You're just going to be cruising around every day? You know, are you wanting a tow hitch?
You know, we want to take it to shows, you know, kind of represent our company. We're actually towing 2 other vehicles to SEMA with this truck.
And that's gonna be quite the sight, seeing that thing coming down the road, pulling into Las Vegas. It's definitely gonna be a showstopper.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So we need to incorporate a gooseneck hitch in to the framework and the suspension itself at the same time, so you can actually work this thing.
Yes.
Man, that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be cool. We'll be building new tubular control arms and a new huge 4-link for the back of this thing, and incorporating the gooseneck hitch in so you can tow whatever you want to on the back.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, as far as like the exterior of the truck, what are your thoughts on that?
You know, I was thinking leave it all white, get rid of all the black trim, the black mirrors, do a color match.
That's the way the factory should have made these things.
I want it to be loud.
Now you're talking. This thing is already top of the line, everything in the interior, but we can definitely top of the line. This is going to be a sought after vehicle for people to look at SEMA show. When we pull it in on the lift, we know we're the first ones to cut up underneath this thing. That's a lot of work coming up, man, but we're going to make it happen for you.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate it.
You know, we always like to push the envelope. You know, everybody's waiting to see what the newest project's going to roll out. This is just going to show everybody what the latest and greatest is. We put a lot of dualies on the frame. We put a lot of dualies, you know, close to the ground. But this thing is going to be completely flat body on the ground. You know, just putting a brand new dually on the ground is going to have 1,000 challenges. But I want to create something just, you know, one of one. Something just totally unique that nobody's seen before and nobody's going to see again. That customer just dropped this thing off. New dualies look good.
They look real good in my driveway.
We're going to put this one all the way on the ground.
So we don't need this no more, huh?
Yeah, probably not.
So frame on the ground.
Body on the ground.
Man, I always love when we put these dualies on the floor. They just look good. They look really good.
And not just that. Low.
Oh, no.
He has a couple other show cars that he wants to tow with this. So hauling 2 cars needs a gooseneck hitch in this thing too. You know, the only way to achieve that on this truck, you already know. Old frame's got to go completely out and build a new frame bumper to bumper. And just cut off all the factory suspension. So you just bare frame rails with nothing factory underneath this thing. And we just start fresh, building control arms, you know, 4-link suspension, and incorporating big airbags in place of the springs and the torsion bars that are on the front of this thing.
So is that all we're doing, or is there more surprising?
There's a couple more. We're going to upgrade the speakers inside this thing. But, you know, we can definitely do better with some speakers outside this thing to really make it way louder and have the speakers actuate out and up so it just projects the sound even more.
Low and loud.
That's it.
Sounds just like the infomercial, man. Well, wait, there's more.
You know, on the body, on the outside of the body, you know, it has the black accents around. We're going to pull those things off, slick them down, paint them all body color to really make this thing look finished.
You're adding a whole lot to the plate on this one.
Let's get to it. Now these new trucks are packed with electronics. So tear down is a huge job on top of what already is a huge job. You know, it's super, super important for John and Tim to keep track of everything and where it came from.
Hey, what did this plug into?
That yellow thing on that little cover.
Huh?
The fender?
Did you say column boot?
It's a bunch of wiring that's going to have to be modified.
We take all the wiring harness off the frame
and relocate that onto the new chassis. And if one of them don't work, you're gonna have problems. You know, taking a car apart, that's the easy part. Taking it apart with the thought that you gotta know how to put it back together, you gotta know what goes where, that's the task. The more thought you put into it when you take it apart, the easier it goes back together.
I would much rather work on an older car. You can eliminate that. Oh, I don't need that. I don't need this. New cars, you can't do that. For instance, one time, we were missing one little sensor on the back of a truck to work, such as AC, windows, radio.
Everything on here runs something. If you don't make a full circuit of that, half the stuff won't work.
You know, taking apart a new car is like taking apart a car and a computer at the same time.
These things will almost drive themselves, back themselves up, back a trailer up for you. But all that has to have a bunch of wires going through it to make it work.
I would still never trust that though. I'd drive it myself.
We're gonna put the truck on the rack. Start disconnecting the rest of the wiring on it. I don't want to disconnect like an airbag and the battery be hooked up and then airbags start going off. We're putting a 28-inch wheel in there and the wheel is going to come up right to the top of this. Everything that's on top of the fender well here and on top of that side all has to be relocated.
Hey Tim, how you want to do these brake lines?
Let's just get it out of there first. And the old trucks, you had to worry about fuel, spark. That's about it. Where'd this go? Fuse?
Box. The battery.
Now, you don't plug this in, it ain't running right. You don't plug something else in, it throws a code, the truck goes in limp mode. We disconnected 857 things.
58.
858 things. We're about to finally lift this thing off the chassis. The motor's like 3 foot tall, 3 foot wide, with miles of just wiring, hoses, electrical, computers.
We gotta fit all of that in a shoebox. You got your work cut out for you. Tim. There's only an I in Tim.
The owner of the 2020 Denali wants to drop this thing on the ground and still be able to haul all his other trucks. So like every other custom frame we built, we're going to make this to give him exactly what he wants. Wow, look at how far the bed hangs down on the sucker.
There's a reason you don't see too many of them all the way down.
That's it. You know, the center of our axle is pretty much going to be about right here. We're going to cut all this completely out and make room for that brand new frame, the big airbags, and the big custom hitch. I think we'll probably make this chassis out of 3x5x4 rectangle tubing. So this thing is super, super strong. So it can haul the weight he's planning on hauling with this thing. Let's get that measurement, you know, the wheelbase. That is 142 3/4. And then from the wheelbase back to the back of the frame, 40 1/4. Man, this thing's gonna be long. Now that we have a sketch, I asked Tim to lay out this super long frame with my template. And then he can cut it out.
You know, with this thing standing up, you really start to get the scope of how big this thing is.
We're looking for a frame that's as straight as possible. These have to be exactly parallel with each other, because if that's not right, when you go to do all your suspension and get measurements off the chassis, if the chassis is off a little bit, all your suspension is going to be off a little bit.
We're 1/8 inch off.
That's not right, nothing else comes out right.
You know, I'm all about helping someone, so when the Diesel family asked to borrow the toter, I can't say no. What's up, fellas?
What's up, Bill?
How you doing, bro?
What's happening, man?
This thing help you out?
Oh, yeah, big time, man.
Let's get this thing backed up. Get it.
We need you to look at.
I see the way they're looking. They're definitely up to something.
Yeah, we got a big surprise for Bill.
I think he's gonna love it.
You guys brought your pro mod? Man, what you want me to do with the Pro Mod?
Man, we knew you were the only person we let touch this thing.
Well, shoot, man, let's get it out. Let's see what you got going on.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Thing's cool, man. It's a weird sound for a Pro Mod.
It's definitely one of a kind, man.
Right. This 57 Chevy Bel Air Pro Mod races in one of the fastest classes in drag racing. You know, it's pretty rare to see one running on a diesel engine like this one.
Originally, this car was Doug Winter's. He raced that car all over the country for years and won many championships with it.
Yeah, we had the idea, was like, what would be the coolest thing ever? Saw this thing for sale, threw the Cummins in there, approximately 3,000 horsepower. I mean, killer setup. Just needs a little bit of TLC on the outside. This thing would be perfect, dude.
Yes, it will.
Man, you know, we don't normally work on race cars or build race cars here, but what are you guys thinking?
Well, you can tell we got quite a bit of body damage. And my thoughts were, get the engine in it, get it lined out, get it running good before we spend the money on making it look pretty in case we had an accident or something.
It looks like it's already been an accident. We want you looking good at the racetrack, man, for sure. So what we'll do, go through getting these gaps lined up and making this thing look presentable. The hood of that thing, man, is rough, huh?
It had a blown Hemi in it whenever we bought the car.
Yeah.
And that's why all that's cut out.
In this case, I'll make an exception for a cow hood. This is the only time I'm going to make this exception.
We don't have the room to not have that. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's not an option.
I think we need to update the wrap on it. I mean, it takes them back to the late 90s. It's like, dude.
Man, it was cool back then.
I mean, back then, yeah.
So you want to change it up, make it your own, and bring it up to date.
Yes, sir.
So let's check out under the hood of this thing.
Let's do it, man.
Man, you can't be having that.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about, man.
Come on, guys. I mean, everybody wants to see what's under the hood of this thing because it's making such a crazy noise, and you definitely don't want them looking at that.
I know, man. That's what I was thinking. We redo that exhaust, make it a lot easier for us to get in and out of the trailer.
Definitely, we got to get you hooked up with that, man.
So, Bill, you think you can handle all this?
Man, Tommy, I can definitely do that, but I've always wanted to do a big smoky burnout one of these things. Man, this old diesel do that?
Oh, yeah, but you want to do it right here, right now.
Yeah, let's take it out.
He's moved out of the way because we know when Bill gets in there, you know, they don't call him Wild Bill for no reason. I mean, this guy just cuts loose and everything. Get it up to 2,000 RPMs and hold it for 8 or 10 seconds. I gotta make sure he doesn't try to cut a donut in this one, because I mean that might get out of hand.
This can go straight.
Hopefully it does. That's what we want.
Hell yeah! Man, that thing's got some power, man.
I know, man. Right at 3,000 horsepower.
That's crazy, man. That diesel runs good.
Did he get it?
When we're all done with this thing, I get to drive it down the track now, right?
Yeah, man, why not? We can let him make a pass.
Man, I appreciate that. Well, you already know, man. We'll get you hooked up with this, man.
Can't wait to see what you do with it.
Can't wait.
You, bro.
Looking closer at this car, man, it's hurt. It definitely needs some help. I can see why it's here, and we're going to help them. You know, the one-way diesel guys, the whole family, I love them. They're down for whatever I need help with. They're 100% down. And, of course, if they need some help with something, I'm 100% down. You know, I'm of expertise. But as metalwork, welding, design work, that definitely is in our expertise.
Now, what is this thing doing here?
Hey, you don't see a Pro Mod too often in the shop, right?
All I've ever.
You definitely don't see one with the diesel in it.
Yeah, I noticed down the side of this thing's got black soot all the way down the side.
Right. And it's just old and tired, and it needs our help.
So I wanted it to look as good as it runs.
Absolutely, man. As soon as you run this thing down the track, they come back to the pits, pull the front end off. People are going to want to know, hey, what's making all that black smoke? Let's see, man, this thing runs good. Sounds crazy.
And that's what they see first?
They can't have that. We'll have Justin build a new exhaust system, something, you know, they can be proud of.
Yeah, you see Pro Mods all day long. You see the one at the track that's a diesel, they're going to want to come see what was in it.
Exactly. They can definitely be proud when they're in the pits with the front end off now instead of trying to stand in front of it and block it. You know, after we get the body all straight and smooth, we got to design something that's really, really unique, eye-catching, and it promotes your business. So what I want to do is peel off all the wrap and touch up all the bodywork, make this thing look really, really good, you know, nice and straight. And there's body pieces missing that we have to fabricate. I mean, you see the hood.
So the hood's been through a couple different motors.
Yeah, the time putting a cow hood on something, you know, this is the exception.
You gonna drive it?
Hell yeah. You know, this is the first Pro Mod race car we worked on, and man, I love new challenges. It keeps us fresh. To kick off this build, Justin's going to replace this old exhaust with something way, way cooler and works a lot better.
First step is going to be to remove the downpipe. You can see it looks like it had an exhaust leak out of the side right here pretty bad, and the reason for that is because that flange wasn't able to mate to the back of the turbo like it should. And from that point, we're going to see what's the best way to cut this flange off, because we're going to have to reuse this outlet flange. And then from there, we're going to take our new pie cuts that we have and basically build a 90-degree bend out of that. So with us adding the flex joints in there, it's going to allow this to pull flat against the back of the turbo and get a good seal. You can see right here where a lot of the black soot is. They had a lot of weld buildup. It was probably pretty difficult to make this weld, which was some of the problem. They tried to get in there with a grinder to get the clamp around it, but it wasn't enough to get a good seal. Plus, the amount of added heat that they put due to the weld caused the flange to warp because of how thin it is. So this table is a flat surface. So now that we have this flange 16th on each side, and that's one of the reasons why you were getting all that smoke blown out of the side.
It's no secret, I think some of the old ways are the best ways. You know, I just bought this big old lathe that's probably about 100 years old, and it's just in time. The old exhaust system on this diesel Pro Mod race car had a leak. So Justin's going to use the lathe to machine a new seal for the exhaust.
So what we're going to do is try to true this up, make it where we have a nice flat finish again before we start welding on it. You see machine marks all the way around the flange. That way we know that it's parallel to our chuck. We know that our chuck is flat. Once we flip this flange, these two faces will be parallel with each other. Well, you can see the gap in it now. Things like a potato chip. So if I stop it, you'll probably see the two marks 180 out from each other. What we're looking for is a clean finish like we have here and 180 out. We want the same thing, 360 degrees, so that we know that we got a full flat surface. Now you can see the difference. We know that it's flat now. Since this flange was originally smaller and they stuck a larger pipe on it, you have a separation between the two materials. So I'm going to weld on the inside to tie it in, and I'm also going to weld on the outside to tie it in before I put my 5-inch pipe over it. So I know it looks like a lot of time and effort is going into this little piece, but this right here is the foundation for what we're building off of, so it needs to be right. Now that we got this piece welded up with all the holes fixed in it, we're going to go ahead and tack this top ring on there, get it attached back to the turbocharger. So we're going to need 10 of these put together to get our 90-degree bend. Well, we need to get it to clear this tire, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack another 5 pieces together. That'll put us at a 45-degree pitch to get it to come out this way. We'll do a straight run of pipe, and then another 45 to get it straight at the bottom, and then from there we'll come out of our fender. When you're making pipes like this, it's a lot of figuring out. You kind of just start putting pieces together and kind of see how it works and then go from there. Right now I'm liking how it looks.
Like dually, we're making one of the longest frames we ever made. So every quarter inch is really going to matter. Because in the end, we have to fit the engine, the wiring, all the computers back under the body. And now there's about to be even less room than what we started with.
What we're going to do now is center this axle in between the frame rails, front and back, exactly what we needed, so we can begin the mock-up process of the 4-link bars. The challenge here is we don't have a whole lot of wiggle room. It may seem simpler because it's a bigger truck, you think you'd have more room,
But you got to remember, it's a dually. Our outside of the fenders of the bed had to be narrowed, I think it was 7 inches. So that brings the frame in a lot more. So we're very limited on space we could work with to build our heavy-duty four-link for this big truck.
Booyah! I'm bending the DOM to make a cross member that'll clear the extra large drive shaft. And that's what's going to hold the front of the four-link bars. The truck's so long and it's going to carry so much weight, we wanted to make something kick back just to give it a little bit extra support and extra strength. So all that tube work is not only going to look good, but it's also going to function. Then we want to make sure nothing moves at all. Because it is pulling a spaceship, pulling a battleship, pulling whatever else. So they all want to be able to tow the most they can tow. For this guy to be able to put a gooseneck trailer on it, go wherever he wants, whenever he wants, and tow all 3 cars.
What we got here is one of our four-link bars set up with the axle tabs, frame tabs. What we're going to do is set this up on the chassis and on the axle. Get these tabs tacked in place. Something like that. Typically, we would put a bolt here, bolt a nut, hold these 2 tabs onto this heim, set it on the bar, tack it in place. But we're going to put a bar straight through both ends. That way we know these tabs will set perfectly in sync with each other.
John just wanted to say in sync.
That way, when you look at it from a distance, one won't look a little twisted than the other. You know, they'll all look symmetrical. And that's what we want, symmetry.
Starting to come together. Now the rear end fastened to the frame with the 4-links. This is the bottom mount. We're going to make support off the rear end of this. And this is what all the rear of the truck rides on. But we're not going to use it as a flat piece of flat bar. We're going to carry the pipe tube work, the theme through the whole truck. And for the weight this guy's going to be pulling, and the durability, and everything that truck needs to do, we just felt better making a connecting back bracket from side to side. It's going to be super strong. And right now it's kind of ugly. When it all gets welded together, it's going to look...
What's up, buddy? So you're the new shop dog, huh? You can come hang out in the trim shop anytime you want, buddy.
You usually know right away if a dog's a really good fit for the shop. And man, he's turned out to be one of the best shop dogs we've ever had. Come on. Ever since Cleve has came onto the shop property, he's kind of acted like he run the place in the nicest way possible. But of course, my kids love him too, so we'll see how long it takes before he's at home permanently.
Happy to be out of that pound.
You know, you can always buy a dog, but around here, we like to give a deserving dog a new chance. To be a show and go truck. Not only he wants to win trophies, but he wants it to tow his other vehicles. So we're going to build an extra strong gooseneck hitch.
This is going to be a support that's holding the whole trailer up. You know, we want to do something too to continue the pipe work through here. So we're going to have a gooseneck ball, and then I'll start building the supports that go out to it. You know, even though we're making a show truck out of this truck, it's still going to be a working truck. So everything we build here has to be stronger than from the factory.
That looks really good like this as is, but since we're going to put a lot of weight on this part, which is going to be the gooseneck hitch, I need a little bit more support just to be safe.
When this gets welded, it'll get welded all around. I almost make like a second gusset. You're for sure not going to be able to bend this thing with tongue weight because everything faces down. You have to collapse it all down at one time.
Well, I reckon them some pretty nice looking welds.
Man, we're finally at the stage where this massive chassis can go back underneath that dually. It looks cool knowing that all this started with just some flat rectangular tubing and a bunch of... Just set it down.
Man, this right here looks very strong. Very rigid. It definitely ain't gonna budge. You and John did a fantastic job on this.
Justin's almost done with the custom exhaust for the Diesel Pro Mod. Now he's just tying everything together.
We're going to go ahead and build the detachable piece that comes out the fender. The purpose of this V-band assembly that we're going to run is while they're trying to load them up in the trailer, you got this big pipe sticking far out that doesn't allow enough clearance. So with the V-band, it'll allow him to remove the exhaust off the side of the car before he loads it up so it's not sticking out the side. So instead of leaving this pipe hole where it's going to throw all the exhaust gases out on the side of the car and get all the black soot on it, what we're going to do is we're going to cut it up in here, and it's almost going to be like a teardrop shape by the time we get it finished cut. Then we'll go ahead and clean this up with a grinder for a little bit before I put it on the car. File is more of a real sharp, defined edge all the way around it and like kind of true it up a little bit. Now, not only does it look better, it'll perform the weight of the car on. It's going to come to about right here. They'll be able to reach into the fender, take this clamp loose, and remove this tip off before they load it in the trailer to make it easier for transport.
Before we can start on the bodywork on the Diesel Pro Mod, the old wrap has to go.
So we got to come in here, we got to heat it up nice and evenly. Can't heat it up too much, it'll mess up the fiberglass, it'll warp it. As you heat it and you pull it, it'll start stretching. If you don't take your time, you can peel that fiberglass and it just creates a lot of body work for the guy. I never know what you're gonna find when you start pulling off some old wraps from the 80s, 90s. People did things a little different back then. Such as right here, there's a big massive hole no one would ever even know about. But if we ever got a race car in like this that didn't have the problems, the owner's not driving hard enough. They're not out there doing what it's made to do. It's not a trailer queen, it's a race car.
Honestly, I just really take my time and make sure every little nook and cranny and crease has been peeled away and cleaned. I put up with those two all day, every day, so I definitely have to have patience.
It needs to be cleaned up a little bit, and the guys can get on this body work here at the shop, and we'll come in, we'll put the new wrap on it, and we'll make it look real sharp.
Justin's almost done with the custom exhaust on the Diesel Pro Mod. He's replacing the old steel pipe with a lighter, way cooler stainless pipe, all tigged up.
Now that we got our new stainless downpipe bolted up with our recirculation lines tied in, we're going to go ahead and replace this charge pipe. We're going to start from this nitrous plate all the way over to the plenum. This is a lot more than cosmetic. We're going to have a weight savings going from a steel tube to our now aluminum tubing. And when it comes to racing, anywhere you can save weight is a big deal. So one of the key things with having a good weld is being comfortable while you're welding. That's why we come to the table. We're going to get a fresh pair of gloves, we're going to clean our wire, and then we're going to come back and drop some dimes. We're going to run the machine around 90 amps. One of the things with aluminum is that it's real thin and it absorbs the heat real fast. What we want to do is we're going to pulse with our foot pedal. So we're going to add some heat and back off some heat so that it has a cooling cycle in between so that we can add our wire, and that's how you get that dime effect versus a flat weld.
Edgar and the team, they can get right to body work.
As you can see, it's all chipped everywhere. The paint's ruined. So what we will have to do here is repair all these fiberglass cracks all the way around the body. Man, this thing is beat up, but it'll be looking right.
After we screw our cowl to our hood, we fiberglass it to make it all one piece. So now I'm gonna spray some black on it on the inside to make it all nice and clean. The way when they take it off, it looks really nice. Alright, it's ready to be wrapped.
I got my guys finishing up the wrap. And adding new tinted window glass.
I'm looking pretty and going fast.
And this Pro Mod will finally look as good as it runs. lot of hard work, a late night or two. We're here at Houston Motorsports Park to give the old Diesel family their car back.
We are excited, man.
Super, man. I cannot wait to see it.
What's up, fellas?
What's happening, Bill?
What's up, Bill?
You got good reason to be. Your Pro Mod was running good, but it definitely wasn't looking good.
I know, man. We were just getting made fun of in the pits. You know, when you roll up after winning a race and it looks like that, it's just...
Like, did you really win at all?
Exactly, you know?
It's rough.
We kind of won.
Yeah, we did, but we didn't.
It's been a labor of love. You know, we put our hearts and soul and a lot of money in it.
And blood.
To get it, and blood. Yeah, you don't get blood on it, it's not fixed right.
You ready to check it out?
I'm ready, man.
Ready. Let's do it. We're so excited to see this thing.
Let's see it.
Yeah. Dude! Oh my gosh, bro! Oh my god! Do you see that? Is that the same car, man?
Awesome. Awesome. Freaking big car. We got a race car.
Man, I love it, man.
Oh my god, dude.
That thing is perfect. That's beautiful, man.
It looks like a brand new car, huh?
This is what I envisioned. When we got this car, I told them I want charcoal gray, black chrome.
It's very intimidating now.
That's what we needed. We needed to make a statement.
You got the Bel Air theme in there?
Yeah.
The color scheme's perfect.
Oh, I know.
Exactly what we wanted.
Freaking beautiful.
Right. You know, the old Rapid was definitely coming off anyway. I guess you guys were fast on the track because half of it was peeling off before we got it.
The guys behind us didn't care for that too much.
No. Spider Wraps guys came over and peeled off the gouges, parts missing. Body shop guys did their thing, made it all nice and straight, filled in the holes.
Probably like 10 times more aerodynamic now, too.
Yeah, we don't have all the holes in the hood.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, what, I don't even know what to do with my hands.
You know, I make an exception this time on the cow hood, right?
Yeah,
I
no, you don't like
okay,
it.
On a race car, it's a little different.
Oh,
so it's all molded in now, so it's not
so clean
anywhere. You don't have big holes all in the front end.
Thank you.
Make it look good, right?
That helps us out a little bit.
Especially at high speed, you kind of want that secured on there.
When we got it up in the air, we pulled the wheels off, powder coated them, tied everything together. New glass in it, all tinted glass, so it just looks mean.
Those extra touches just take this car to the next level, Bill. Yeah, and we love that.
And this has always been my dream, to put a Cummins in a 57 Chevrolet. To have that iconic car with a diesel in it that we can incorporate, our business, have fun with, and stay classy. I mean, it does have an attitude to it.
It got a lot of attitude.
If people look at this car, they'll know it's a 57 Chevrolet.
When you pull up to the starting line, people are just going to already be nervous just by looking at this thing.
And they're going to know immediately that they're going to get second place that day.
That's it. This family's been working their butts off for quite some time, and I'm proud to say they have the full package now.
Oh my gosh, check it out, man. It's perfect.
Awesome.
And the aluminum's a lot lighter, so any way we can save, it's perfect.
Justin is the man when it comes to something like this, and he got down on it.
Those pie cuts and those welds are just beautiful.
All stainless, 5-inch pipe. That's 15 inches of weld all the way around this, every pie cut. So there's 29 feet of weld.
That's crazy, man.
That takes some time.
Yeah. That's a ton of work, but you see the results.
It's worth it.
For sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
And he's got a lot cleaner bends and radius, so the CFM from the turbo is going to flow way better.
It's going to help us keep it nice and sealed and not have any boost leaks either.
Yeah.
While Justin was building everything, he put a V-clamp right at the end so you can take that rod off.
It's brilliant.
Definitely make life
Smart tripping over it.
Beautiful.
That's definitely it's an art piece.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
We can't thank you enough. You and the guys knocked this out of the park.
Well, actually, you can thank me. You told me something when you dropped this off, right?
Yeah, I did.
There's a reason why we're at Houston Motorsports Park, right?
I kind of put two and two together.
A little drag stick, right over here,
I did say you could drive it, man.
All right, well, I'm ready. You ready? Your car ready?
She's always ready.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
A lot of people have been asking, where's Mr. Blue Dog? Man, he hit the dog. He's got his own bed, his own bedroom, his own toys. He's like a kid that came from nothing, graduated college, and now he's the CEO of his own company. Right, little buddy. Blue comes to the shop every once in a while now just to hang out. I'll bring him up here a couple of days, maybe a couple times a month, let him hang out. But for the most part, he hangs out by the pool on the swing out back. And when I get home, he's supposed to hang out and cuddle. It's just like anything. They say that if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Well, same with a dog. If you have room at your house, you'll never have a bad day at your house. Here over the last 5 or 6 years, it seems like when a shop dog does show up, he'll get attached to somebody. If you adopt these guys instead of shopping, they didn't ask you to put in the pound. They don't ask you to overbred like that. If you can adopt one of these guys, man, your life will be so much better and they're full of joy.
As good as a diesel Pro Mod looks, you know, a performance vehicle like this is measured in speed. And the Wells family is nice enough to let me make a run down the track with it.
Man, are you ready for this?
I was born ready.
And I know you can drive. I'm just saying. I mean, this.
We're about to see, huh?
That's what I'm worried about. I was actually expecting him to be really kind of scary.
Did everybody explain to him this car goes straight? He's not supposed to do donuts, right?
Don't be all mad when my time's quicker than yours.
Oh, okay. All right.
Let's check this thing out. You know, getting behind the wheel of a Pro Mod isn't just turning the key and hitting the gas. I mean, there's a lot of things that go in with that.
We're going to put it in first gear. You want to see about 900 degrees before you floor it. Then we're going to start creeping up in the throttle. And once I see about 10, you can mat it. Boom! And then once we see the trees start dropping, as the last light comes on, go ahead and let off the brake. Typically, you're perfect. Go when you're ready. All right, let's see this, man.
Come on now, people.
Oh, okay. All right. Come on, Bill. Keep it straight, man. A little more.
I can definitely see the addiction in this. Already want to go again.
Oh, yeah!
Good job,
that
bro.
was awesome, man.
What a pass.
Good job, man.
Good job.
That was awesome.
One way to know about that. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
How'd it feel, bro?
Man, that was cool. I'm really, really impressed with the diesel engine doing what it did, man, for sure.
They're pretty fun, huh?
Definitely adrenaline rush, man, for sure.
Absolutely, man. We really appreciate everything you did for us on this car. It looks absolutely killer. It's insane.
I mean, it's perfect.
It really is.
So we can't thank the guys at Extensive enough for this. And
it's literally a dream come true.
It is. It is a dream for us, man.
You know, that's what it's all about for sure, right?
That's right, man. Family and going fast.
And looking good.
And looking good, man. Thanks to you. I appreciate it, bro.
Man, appreciate you guys.
All right.
Look what I got, Timmy.
Tim and John are almost done with the rear suspension on the 2020 Denali Dually.
What we have now is the front crossmember for the dually chassis. This is where the motor is going to sit. If we can connect the chassis to this front crossmember and connect the crossmember to the front core support, finally, this frame will be complete, and then we can move on.
Now that we got the strong foundation, we can drop in that big old Duramax diesel. We've been at this thing for a couple of months already, and we still have to make room for the big old notch and those big old wheels. Finish the front suspension. You know, on the older truck, making a frame this big would be the hardest part. But on a new truck like this, we're really just getting started.
This is going to be a real tight fit.
Fitting a watermelon in an egg carton.
For Fury, I thought this thing was solid. It's solid, full of holes and crap.
Too bad it's not the roof that looks like this.
I know, and we're going to chop it off. It's called a sling ray. It started as a Polaris slingshot with 3 wheels. I just didn't feel like it was finished right. No matter how custom a car is, there's always something else to do.
Holy cow!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You might have noticed we had this 64 Lincoln sitting in the lot for quite some time. 4 or 5 years, I don't really know how many.
Well, numbers off this thing. I think I got this thing sold.
Really? Yeah. I've been wanting to hear that for quite a while. It's one of those things. I bought it for a build, and it just never happened. So it never left. Man, I was beginning to think this thing was going to be here forever.
Well,
It might not be going too far. I think our buyer is gonna want us to build it.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. It don't get any better than that, right? Make a little money on the sale and then make a little money on the customization.
That is for sure.
These are always cool cars, man. I mean, the 64 Lincoln is just, it's iconic. Been itching to do some stuff to one of these for quite a while. There's so much you can do to these things. I mean, this thing's 20 feet long, and it's almost 20 feet wide.
20 feet of fury, but it's more of a boat than it is a car.
You're right.
Maybe put some propellers on the back or something, take it around the lake.
Hey, before you get too far, man, let's make sure you get this thing sold.
I'm not making any promises, but I'm 100% going to sell this car today.
I like that confidence, man. Let's see what you got.
Let's do it.
Somebody just walking around Sunny Drive, these old cars might not look like much. You know, I wouldn't keep them all around if I didn't see the potential of what they could be. The whole trick is to find someone that wants that project. Once you have that, it's really satisfying to bring these old cars back to life.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Hey, man, real good. Congratulations, you're the new owner of the 60.
Fantastic car. You know, ever since I rode in one about 25 years ago, wanted to get one of these, a nice convertible Lincoln Continental ever since.
The one you bought is a coupe. It still has its top on it. You know that, right?
Can you guys help me with that?
So you wanted to make this thing a convertible?
That would be sweet, yeah.
Man, we can definitely do that. That'd be real cool. Just chop the top off, weld all the seams up, and just make it a convertible all year round.
All year round, yep.
Where are you located?
I'm outside of Boston, so we'll have to make sure it's got some heat.
We can definitely do that. How far are we taking it?
If you guys could do your magic and make it something really, really custom, really sweet for me, I'd love to have a really nice street cruiser that goes fast and handles well.
And we definitely got you on that. First thing, put a modern engine in it with a lot of power, reliability, just something you can get in, hit the key, and haul butt with.
Oh, I love it.
We'll put it on air suspension, big brakes, big wheels and tires, make this Lincoln ride really good, handle really well, and you're gonna look cool doing it.
That sounds awesome.
Any preference toward any colors, anything like that?
To me, a Lincoln Continental, that vintage has always been black, and then in the interior, I think like a white.
Kind of like a junior mint.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Frank wants this full-time convertible, so one thing we're gonna focus a lot on is the interior. That's a really, really important thing on any car, but especially build you something just totally custom and totally unique and just make this a piece of art.
All right.
Well, Frank, man, I know exactly what you want, and we're gonna make this thing happen for you.
All right, perfect. Can't wait to see it.
Talk to you later. You know, this job's like a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, it's really good to get this thing out of the lot, get it sold, but, you know, the other hand, I know exactly how much work is going to have to go into this. Every job has its own set of challenges, no different. You know, I'm really nervous. One of the things you dread most on a car this old, been sitting for quite some time, is rust. I mean, rust destroys everything. I mean, it's a New Mexico car, nice and dry climate. It should be pretty solid, but once we blast it, we'll know for sure.
Max, there's a ton of Lincolns, ton of them been done. What are we going to do that's going to be different?
It's not what we're doing, it's what aren't we doing? You know, I definitely got a couple concerns on this thing. First, you see the rust going through on the hood and trunk lid, right? That's definitely not going to bust. Looks pretty solid, but we won't know until we get it blasted. You know, the next thing, engine out of this thing is going to have brand new power plant. Yeah, we want that Cody in here. Put the Ford engine with the Ford body. Very cool. You know, keep it all legit. As far as the interior, everything completely out. We're going to start fresh on that. We really want to focus on the interior too, because there's not going to be a top on it. Where is the top going? The top's going in the scrap bin. We're just totally roastering, cutting the roof completely off this thing, taking all the glass out and capping the doors and the deck lid. 100% no top all the time. That's awesome. You know, we got to make this thing low to the ground. Get this thing on air suspension, get it all the way on the ground, freshen everything up. 24x8s in the front, 24x10s in the back, new brakes, all joints, everything. Start 100% fresh.
Tell me we're going black.
You know, I totally agree with Frank. This car just needs to be black. Not just a normal black, not just a deep black. We're going to give it something that wakes it up a little bit.
It's going to be cool. You know, the chrome just really makes this car. I mean, we definitely need to keep this on it.
I think it's mostly here.
Yeah, I think it's all here. Re-chrome the bumpers, grille. Man, it really stand out against that black. Awesome. First things first is getting some totally stripped.
We'll get some people. We'll get started.
I'm gonna go get a bunch of parts.
Ready? Ready? We'll take the trunk off and the lid off. I'll go get John, take all the interior out. Hey, we got the trunk out. So far, I'm pleasantly surprised. It doesn't look as bad as I thought. When John gets the carpet out, it's going to be a telltale sign to see how the floor looks in this thing.
One of the challenges with these old cars is everything's stripped out, everything's rusted, nothing really wants to come apart. So a lot of times you just got to turn the bolts into liquid. Just stuck to the floor. It's still standing here. That's a plus.
Surprisingly, it looks really good. This floor could have been a whole lot worse. Man, we're going to take all the 1964 off this car. We're going to make everything modern. Make everything handle better, drive better, stop better. So to do that, we need a clean slate. We're going to take all this old stuff, get it out of here. So now we get it blasted, it's going to be a fresh new start. We won't have to deal with 60 years of dirt, grease, grime. We can weld right to it, and we know it's ready to go.
Can I go up? Up. Go.
Go down. Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah.
Whew. It was a lot of dirty work, but we finally got this thing all stripped down. The next big surprise is going to be when it comes back from blast.
Depending on how backed up the media blaster is, sometimes a project can take up to 2 weeks to come back. But other times, like in this case, it's the next day.
And it came back from blast. That side doesn't look as bad. I want you to look at this side. It looks a lot rougher than when it left. Especially, I don't know what's going on here.
You're speechless? Man, I thought this thing, you know, was solid. It's solid, full of holes and crap, right?
The paint was all faded. You would think over time you'd start to see stuff coming back through it, but it was well hidden.
Man, very well. The other side looks decent. The floorboards look decent. Everything underneath looks good.
Yep. Too bad it's not the roof that looks like this.
I know. The roof looks really good. We're going to chop it off. Well, we got to do what we got to do now. We're already too deep in this thing to do anything about it. So we'll just replace the fender. Probably going to replace the quarter. Let's get it. You know, you always hate it when a car comes back from media blast and it's in worse shape from what you thought. The 1964 Lincoln is a lot worse. Luckily, Max sourced some old replacement panels. That way Jamie can get busy and get them replaced.
This thing's pretty much beyond repair. I mean, all the Swiss cheese down here, these ripples into the door jamb, and then we come to the front right here. This is pretty much the same story. It's too far gone. We don't want to put any metal like that back. So best thing to do, go ahead and cut this off, skin this with a new fender, and send it back to the body shop. Let's get started. All these little indentions are spot tacks. I have to drill everyone out. So cue the time lapse. Spot tacks are just about out, so we'll go ahead and score a line right next to this door to make it easier to go ahead and get these leftover spot tacks out. Just a quick cut with a cutoff wheel, and we'll have this panel off. This was on another car a week ago. Just an old 64, 65 fender. I always like to use original parts instead of like a repop. The new metal is a little bit thinner, the old metal is a little bit thicker and stronger. On this panel, there's a chrome trim piece right here.
If I don't need even, you'll see a gap on the chrome. So it's really important that I clamp everything right where it needs to go. In the old days, this is how they did it with the spot tabs. Nowadays, they glue panels together. I mean, I don't know. I've seen glue come apart, so you'll never catch me using a glue gun. It's always going to be a welder. Okay, that one's in. Everything looks good. Go ahead and move on to the back now. I look up, I've been wanting to see this thing for quite some time. It's called a sling ray. It rolled into SEMA a couple years ago. And man, people haven't stopped talking about it since. Tim, what's happening?
What's up, Bill? How you doing, brother?
Man, all right. Man, I finally get to see this thing in person.
Sure do, man. What do you think of it?
Man, it's crazy. But finally seeing this thing in person, it's amazing. I mean, it's a work of art. It started as a Polaris slingshot, which is an auto cycle with 3 wheels.
We basically turned it into a 4-wheel conversion instead of 3 like the typical.
That's unbelievable.
Dropped in an LS3 with a stage 2 Whipple. And of course, we did this crazy exoskeleton to match Corvette ZR1. 650 plus horsepower, a huge sound system in it, and it's all on air ride.
Crazy.
Big adult go-kart.
This is the kind of thinking that I like, just totally out of the box. It's what brings you by, man.
A couple little things that, when I got the car back, basically just weren't complete. I just didn't feel like it was finished right.
I totally get it. No matter how cool, how custom a car is, there's always something else to do.
The engine bay over there, there's a lot of where you can see the wiring and everything else, that we needed like some kind of like sheet metal or something, that cool cover plate.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Big void right here. You can build a sheet metal panel, give it some bead rolling, make it look really nice. And the filter, man, yeah. It definitely needs something else on there for sure.
Started on the filter. I can always tell who the haters are because that's the first thing they talk about every time they look at this car. Everything else in this car is completely custom, so I think that should be too.
I might just have to test drive this thing, personally, and just make sure the suspension is right, the engine's performing right, just make sure everything's right for you.
Of course, man, whatever you got to do.
I want to look out for you.
Oh, I know you're looking out for me. I'm sure you want to take it for a spin to get get the feel for those compartments.
Yeah, I just got to make sure,
Oh, yeah. I totally get it, man. Of course, take it for a spin.
Looking at this, it's just a tease.
Man, I've been seeing this thing on the internet. I didn't think I'd see it in person.
Come on, man, let's go check it out. When you see a car like this, a vehicle like this, you gotta get behind the wheel and just feel it. This thing is great to drive. Handles good, rides good. It's got unbelievable amount of power. That's exactly what you want, driving something like this. I can totally understand the obsession of getting this thing 100% right and 100% finished. Everywhere you go, it draws a huge crowd. Everybody wants to talk to you about it. What I'm to ask is, how come this isn't finished right here? When we're done with this, there's not going to be a reason for that guy to say one word.
So what are we doing to this thing?
Everything has been done to this thing, which is everything.
Yeah.
Once you have a project done like this, there's always that 1 or 2 or 10 things that you see that nobody else sees. Once you see those things, you can't unsee it. You're just fixated on it until it's fixed. Of course, one of the things is the air filter. This thing is way too cool to have something that uncool on it. The next thing, it's got a couple little pockets in the front, little factory little voids where you see down in it, just looks unfinished. We're going to fabricate custom panels on both sides of the engine to hide all that wiring. And then we'll color match them with two-tone paint.
Clean it up real good?
Yeah. It's really cool to get a project like this in the shop, even though we didn't build it. It's good to be a part of it. Without saying, because you can see right into the engine. The look of the covers are fine, so to go over with the overall flow of the sling ray.
Basically, I'm gonna start out with a blank chipboard. And I'm gonna scratch out a couple designs, see if I can get some things to work and fit around these areas, make it something you want to look at instead of something you look away from. I'm just getting a rough outline. I'm gonna see how I can tie everything in together to hide as much of these wires, these canisters as I can, because it's not very nice to look at. It's time consuming, but it's definitely necessary. See how much better it ties in already? That's already looking a lot better. As you can see, it's not just a flat piece of metal. It's got a lot of shapes and bends and contours. It's busy. I'm gonna have a lot of little tricky details on this one little panel, and I also have to duplicate this to the other side, which makes it even harder.
For most car guys, the Sling Ray is almost a perfect build. But even then, there's always one more thing. So right now, Jamie's making some custom panels to hide all that wiring.
So now I got all my pieces right here. Taking the tape off, kind of just breaking them down into flat panels. Try to space put them wherever. Once I do that, go ahead and cut it out, and then I'll start shaping it. So rather than making another template for the other side, go ahead and make my template out of the copies that I just cut out. Oh, it'll just be mirrored, flipped. That'll be my other side. So this is my passenger side, this is my driver's side, this is the side I made my template from. So I'm gonna take my template, mark both panels out at once so they're exactly the same. I put the same bins, the same roll, everything in it at the same time. All right, let's cross fingers. Take your time to do this. You can't just rush this. This has to be planned out. One wrong bend and you might as well throw the panel away. You can look at it right now and see that everything's exactly the same contour, but my bend right here connects right to my bend right there. This first one, now just a couple more left to go. Pretty happy with the shape. I'm ready to tack everything up. Pretty happy with the way this is starting to look. So all I need to do is mirror the other side, then I can continue on forming on this piece around the edge.
We made real progress on the suspension for the 64 Lincoln. We tied the two links directly into the existing unibody.
How's your chain link look? Parallel or what? Looks pretty close right here.
We're buttoning up the bag mounts, and then we're moving on to turning this into a roadster.
Go ahead and tack it on the corner, just like you did on the other side.
You know, being here at Extensive working on these Lincolns, it's always cool to be able to put these parts on and see it all come together, and once it drives out and you see it sitting on the ground, it's pretty awesome.
Before you just go chopping a top off, you know, it's critical to reinforce the body first. This whole Lincoln is a unibody car, so that means there's no frame underneath this thing. The body itself is super rigid and doesn't need a frame, but we just can't cut the roof off or the whole car just bend in half, right? So what we need to do is cut 2 inches out of here and put in 2x4 box tubing in it. So this thing is really, really, really rigid. Let's get it, man. Once you get on that side and just kind of replicate what I'm doing on this side, we'll knock it out real quick. Straight as you can, right on the outside of the line, because it's going to be a lot easier to put the tubing in and out with it not being right on it. But you don't want to get too far out because that's a bigger gap we have to weld up, and that just takes more time. Once that's out of the way, we can see what's under and see how much farther to go.
That's good right there. From underneath, it's one piece of metal that just curves around into the floor. So I raised it up to get a better angle with the cutting wheel. That'll be way easier than doing it from inside the car.
Yeah. Like a glove, pretty much what we have now is a frame for this thing. That tubing is going to hold the majority of the flex and weight of this car.
It was a pain, but we got it done.
Well, you ain't done yet. You know, you got the other half to do. Let's just get one side in at a time to make sure this thing doesn't buckle and bend and twist.
finish getting these tacked in, I'm gonna go ahead and weld them out. As well as they're gonna take a while. You don't wanna stay in one spot too long and have it heat up and distort the metal, so you gotta jump around and make sure it's done right.
Got this piece without a roof. The door frame will lose their structural integrity, so I made a support to put the strength and rigidity back into it. Everything looks good. You got everything welded in nice and solid. It's a lot of welding, huh?
Oh yeah.
Now I got this for the pillar. That's gonna keep everything nice and strong. Make sure these doors shut the same way as before when we had the top on it.
All right.
Man, you're doing a great job.
Thanks, man.
Because the Lincoln's not going to have a roof, the interior is going to be that much more visible. With that in mind, John and Brian are getting after it, making one-off door panels.
Oh, what you got there? Man, I come with breakfast tacos and dreams.
Okay.
So, but my idea, instead of just a pleated panel, wood pleats. We'll take this board and cut it down to be about 3/8 of an inch thick, and basically cut the pleats into the wood.
I see.
Do a pearl white on top of this so the grain really pops out on it.
We carry that throughout the vehicle. That'll look really cool.
I know, that's why I was kind of like, got it. That's what we're gonna do. But first, taco. Now I got them cut to size. Next thing I gotta do is cut them in half the long way. Get them 2 pieces the right thickness. We'll run them through the planer, get everything smooth, nice and neat, and then we'll cut our pleats in it. I've set up a fence on the table saw. I want 1.5 inch wide pleats, so cut me some 1.5 inch wide strips. Follow the fence, make the first cut, and I'll stack one in, make another cut, another cut, another cut. Each time I put one of those in there, it moves me 1.5 inches over, gives my spacing evenly all the way across the board, so we get all these things cut and we'll be looking good. All right, so with that done, as you can see, we've got our pleats all the way across here. Everything's cut, they're nice and even. So the next thing we'll do, clean up the edges, and they'll be ready to stain.
All right, let's go.
We're adding a lot of power to the 64 Lincoln with the brand new Coyote 5.0.
435 horsepower of fury.
Down.
Like it's supposed to be there.
Now that we finished the air suspension and reinforced the body, we can get going to turning this thing into a roadster.
We're gonna do a one-weather car?
Yeah, there's no putting the top back on after this.
One shot deal.
Cheers. We'll chop down low right here. And once we cap this part of the door, all this flows together. You know, you open the doors, man, it'll look nice without that indention there.
That's going to be a clean body line right there. That's going to look slick.
After we get it cut, we'll have the doors open all out of the way. And if we did our job right, the doors shut back in the right spot, right?
Everything's braced up super solid. I mean, I don't think it's going to move at all. It's not going to move at all. I'm about to cut this piece out right here. It's going to be below our doors jammed, so it's just going to fade right on in. You'll never see it. Got the front half pretty much cut. Now I'm just going to go on this line right here. That's it.
You got it?
She's loose.
3 feet. Oh, yeah.
Got a little splinter. Go. Ready. All right. Got a hard top for sale. Whoa.
Let's see if the door's shut.
All right. Look at that.
Looks good, man.
I think they should have made them like this.
Should be a factory option. The custom filler panels for the sling ray, they're all welded out. Now it's time to add some colors.
What's up, man? How's it going? Hey, just checking this thing out. Jamie just did a really good job making the filler panels for this. Next step, get it all color matched, making it look good. I don't want it to stand out, so I want this wrinkle black so it all matches everything else. Paint this the silver to match the little trim on the side. Make a two-tone and match the texture and the color at the same time. Yeah. It's gonna look sick, man. Yeah, let me know when you get done with it. All right, man.
Bill said he wants it a two-tone. From right here, over here, it will be base coat, clear coat, so it will be all gloss. From right here to this side, it will be all texture to match the rest of the car. I'm gonna have to cover this whole piece right here and pretty much leave this wide open. I'm showing you why I'm using this kind of texture is because it's actually real close to the texture of the car, so it'll match really good. Once this whole thing's done, it's gonna look real nice.
Now Jamie can get the new intake in. Yeah, it looks good. And we're ready to give this right back to Tim.
Morning, Bill.
Man, good morning, Tim.
Good, man. How you doing, dude?
Good, man. You want
donuts? Nah, man, I'm good. I already had my coffee today. So I figured you didn't call me for donuts this morning, huh?
Might have something to show you.
Super excited to see it, man.
Why don't you just have your little donut, and I'll be right back.
All right. Deal. Oh, man! This thing looks sick. As soon as Bill pulled out, first thing I could look at was the engine compartment. Those new custom panels and that air intake looks awesome. I couldn't ask for anything better. Absolutely love it. Man, dude, looks amazing, man. I love it.
You know, Tim, when you came in, it looked unfinished to you. I mean, there was just a couple of little issues here and there that you can't unsee once it's in your brain. You got to address it.
Oh, right? Definitely, man.
So that's what we did. Got it in the shop. Jamie got busy pounding some metal out, forming those panels for you. Man, he comes through.
Yeah.
Always.
Looks so good. I actually was only expecting some flat sheet metal panels, you know, maybe some bead roll on it, but they actually contoured the metal parts to where it actually looks like it's part of the car. It looks so cool.
After he hammered those out, shipped them over to the body shop, you know, they do what they do. Made these things super slick, two-tone paint, and added a texture on the inside, so it looks like a part you would get from the dealership.
Dude, it does. It totally wraps up this engine bay, though, for sure.
Well, that and
the intake.
The air intake that you had on there, it looked kind of cheesy, but now it's just over the top. You guys replicated the body from a Corvette, so, you know, just got a 2017 Z06 intake, made it just flow with the rest of it. These are definitely the jobs that, you know, just the little tweaks here and there makes such a huge statement. Goes a long way with the customer.
Just wraps it all up.
Yeah, man.
You know, I think this is now complete. Just go and drive it.
Hey, speaking of,
yeah,
I got something I've been wanting to do.
What is it, man?
Man, I always wanted to do donuts while eating donuts.
What?
Yeah, man. You know, I've been thinking about this for a while.
You want to do it?
Man, let's do it.
I'll hold this.
All right. I like donuts. I like doing donuts. So how do you top that off? You do donuts while eating donuts. Great day. Got a donut hanging out of my mouth, rubber flying, smoke everywhere, Tim screaming. Doesn't get better than that.
I really tried hard to play cool. I was like, I'm done. Wow, man, that was wild. You're crazy.
Did I wake you up a little bit?
Just a little bit, man. Good idea.
We're painting the 64 Lincoln and brought Lewis in to help him paint the custom wood door panels. So what we've
got here is oak, and it's a very grainy species of wood. So we're going to take the wire brush, and we're actually going to rip out all of the softwood to expose the true character of this species. You can start to see the difference on how the character of the grain is actually accented in the piece. All right, we got them all done. Now we just need to take them over to the paint booth, get some paint mixed up, and put some paint on them. Our base coat, you know, it's a brighter white. So what I've done is I've taken that base coat and added some of the pearl powders to it to get really close to the color of the vinyl that we're going to be using in the Lincoln. Alright, so we got everything sprayed. We're going to let it dry. It looks really good. You can tell the wire brushing really helped to accent that grain. It's going to look sick, dude.
We're almost done making the 64 Lincoln topless. One of the last steps of the metalwork is capping the doors. You know, I'd love to no roof on this car. Warm, sunny day. Definitely not going to need the windows to roll up. So what we did is bent some 20-gauge sheet metal, and we're going to cap the doors so you can just see smooth, custom lines and everything just flowing. And that's exactly what we want. Same spot. Right there. We put these bars across here, that way we know without having to get back and look at it that everything is 100% true straight. This is straight up against this tubing. It is perfectly parallel with that over there. You know, the way we do something like this is leave the panel that we made all in one piece. That way when we're tacking everything in, everything is 100% straight. Once you get it tacked in, all you need to do is go back and make a cut where the door opening is going to be, and then you fine tune the little edges, and where you know it, you got a cool custom cap for a 64 Lincoln. Look good. Let's go eat. The dash on the 64 Lincoln was in really rough shape. But John and Brian, they have no choice but to make it work.
Well, as you can see, this dash looks terrible. So we checked a couple of places, and no one on the interwebs has one. So that just meant we fixed the one we got. Just gonna take a little bit of fiberglass putty, or get it packed into here. We'll get it all body worked out. Now if that's done, the next thing we're going to do is start working on the defrost vent panel. We're going to mold in a speaker grill into that so we can put our speakers back in the factory location. We'll cut out a piece of wood. We'll just trace out our template. Once that's shaped out, a little bit of trim here to modify this factory panel so it'll fit in properly. Next thing to do, get it taped up, put it on the panel, get it body worked in. All right, got everything worked out on the dashboard. Looking good, body worked out, looks nice. The next thing we gotta do is wrap it. All right, so I got this nice white vinyl. Lay it up here, trace it all out, get our patterns done, and then sit down and sew it together. In order for this to lay out properly, we want to make sure we take the time to keep this nice and flat. If we get any wrinkles in it now, when we sew it together, it will be sewing a wrinkle into it. Off to the side. Now what we'll do, get these things sewn together. When I was growing up, I always wanted custom cars. I knew I couldn't afford it, so I had to figure out how to do it myself. I ended up sitting behind a sewing machine. But it's just kind of a natural progression. When you get into doing interiors, you kind of expand what you do, and the sewing actually helps you out. You can build anything you want, because no matter what, you'll be able to cover it. I got a nightmare.
Would look like a nightmare. How long is this thing?
About 11 feet. This is not going to be fun.
It's just so much material. You sure this thing fits?
I have a little bit of faith in my process. I don't know what worked. No glasses or fogged up glasses. So now that everything's glued, steamed, and in place, we're just going to take our knife, take a little patience, and work our way around it, get everything trimmed out. And once it's all trimmed out, this thing will be ready to go in the car.
We finished finished the bodywork for the Lincoln. Now we can get it into paint. The owner wants a high gloss black to contrast the all white interior.
Beautiful.
And now we can put back in the 5.0 Coyote engine.
That looks good on that nice black engine compartment. Yeah, it does. It's tight fit. Well, let's get everything else finished up so we can go for a ride.
We're adding some custom 22-inch wheels and tires, dash, door panels, and seats. And we even re-chromed the original chrome. Man, it's crazy to think this thing sat in our lot for years. And now it looks brand new again.
I've been in the industry for 15 years now. I've had the skills and the knowledge over the years, but just we've never had the workplace to be able to pull it off. But here, it's a whole nother world. John was actually one of my instructors years ago. As an instructor, he knew exactly how to build you out as a person to turn you into a fabricator. It's really, really cool to have that kind of friendship / instructor going on, and it still carries on to this day. John hit me up on Facebook, and he's telling me there's a position available. I definitely knew I could not miss this opportunity. I had to take this. Since it is the major leagues over here, to get this opportunity and come here and to be able to use my skills and advance my skills, it's a very, very amazing feeling to feel like you got to the top. It was a mind rush to see how this place operates and watch the vehicles come through and the speed we're having to build at, but still have the freedom to be able to build whatever we want. And I never would have thought I'd be standing here looking into this camera.
Old Lincoln's finally done. It's pretty funny. Frank's on his way to check out his one-weather car, and it's cold and rainy. It's been a staple in the parking lot for quite some time. From a diamond in the rough to a full polished show car. Always knew his car was going to get finished one day.
Hey there, I'm here for a Lincoln.
Frank, what's happening?
Hey, Billy, Val, how are you guys?
It's a great day to pick up a one-weather car, huh?
Yeah, it is. It is. I brought my rain jacket. I'm all set. You guys ready for me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I purchased that car years ago with intentions to eventually build it myself, but, I've been kind of busy over the last few years, you know what I mean? Man, I'm finally glad we're able to take it in, get it finished up. We built you something really special, man, really cool.
I am ready to see it.
Let's go
see this car.
Let's go see it.
All right. Yeah, man, I'm really excited to see this car. It's going to be fantastic.
Check this out.
Holy cow! Woo! That is... out and saw that car. Oh my goodness, I was blown away. Just love at first sight. My wildest dreams, I had some ideas, but I couldn't even imagine anything like this.
All your buddies are going to be jealous.
Oh, they are. They are.
Frank, the rest of the world's going to be jealous about this car. There's nothing like seeing a big old long car with a no roof sitting on the ground like this one. You can't tell how many hours and hours of metal work that went into it. I thought it was a solid car. Once we got it blasted, came back, it was way, way worse shape than I originally thought. So we had to end up replacing the front fender, the rear quarter, and the hood also. Once we got the body straight, the fun begins. This car being, a unibody, just cutting the roof off isn't that easy. So what we had to do is go in and basically built a frame inside the body of the car to make it super rigid.
Give it enough stiffness so it's not twisting all over the place. Yeah, that's awesome.
So once we did that, we were able to cut the roof totally off, and we went and capped the top of the doors, and then capped the whole deck. I don't think it gets any cleaner than this.
It feels like poised and relaxed, but at the same time like ready to jump, like a Black Panther ready to pounce.
Of course, on a car like this, you gotta have it low. So that's what we did. All custom air suspension on it and set all the way on the ground. That just makes this car. Check out underneath the hood.
All right, let's take a look at the motor. Oh my God, that is incredible. Wow.
Right?
Fantastic. Beautiful.
Late model 5.0. You got about 450 horsepower under the hood now. This thing will get it.
Can't wait to get behind the wheel and try it out for myself.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad you like this. I know you kind of already seen it, but check out the interior.
All right, let's go look at the interior. That is awesome.
This is one of the most important aspects of the car itself. When, there's no roof, that's one of the first things you come up and look at. John and the guys, look.
They did an amazing job. It's incredible.
And you can see it looks really, really clean. They put wood in all the door panels, wood accents all throughout, and then painted it all white. So it looks like something that would have came in this car back in the 60s.
Yep. The interior of this car is incredible. The white finishes with the piping on the seats, the white washed wood, it's just clean and perfect. Blew me out of the water. You not only met my expectations, you so far exceeded them, I can hardly find the words to describe.
Each and every person in the shop helped out with this project. I can't thank them enough.
Woo! That is awesome.
This car looks amazing now.
Bill, this is so cool. I love it. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Fantastic.
You're very welcome.